The life of a monster. Yes.
Only no.
All right. Let's see.
Mic check 1 2 1 2.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And so we got Johnny, yes.
Yes.
Allie, yes.
Yeah.
Shar, yes.
Yep.
Million, yes.
I'm good.
Ogre, yes. That's not a yes.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. All right. And we're back to it. Thank you guys all showing up today. You guys have just finished the offering room. And after the last offering was done, the next room is available.
Everyone ready?
What's the marching order?
Yeah, that's the marching order.
So by technicalities, we've gone through 4 rooms. That means it'd be team 5 this time. Which it would be Knee Snake, Chipney, Beauregard, the Monster Merchant, and Dabbler.
They go off into the next room, and after about 5 minutes, they poke their head in, and they're like, "It looks clear, at least on the landing, but you guys got to see this."
All right, let's go.
Onwards and upwards? Question mark.
One
Yep.
can hope.
And then after team 5, team 1, back to the order goes.
All right.
Thank you for your leftovers, Allie.
You're welcome.
Where are my leftovers, Allie?
They're in my stomach.
Yeah, where are mine?
Bummer. Okay.
See how you are.
We got a lot of leftovers in the fridge. You could all come have some.
Let me just.
It was shrimp, spicy noodles, pretty much.
So, yeah, those guys go there. Then those guys go there. I'll put you guys over by the door.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, gosh, what was that? Gross. Ew. Just gonna put you guys all on the map. Makes it easy for me and everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to floor 5.
Space World. That we're fighting Apollo. Avatar of Apollo. The Defender. The Guardian.
Right. As you guys enter the room, you see towering walls of glass that shield everyone from the endless abyss that hides behind it. The glass particularly doesn't look anything more special than any of the normal glassworks you've seen, including ones from the potions you would drink, which means it's not very durable. There are numerous statues. One statue, of course, stands out among the rest, and it is different. One that you guys have yet to see before. Standing in the middle, towering 8 meters in the air. As for
Oh.
the areas on the right and left, it looks like they're secluded little alcoves for it looks like rank and file standing on those charge plates. And little pathways that go branch left, branch right, and branch down the middle. Easily, I interrupted you. You were going to say something?
Oh, I was going to ask, how much gold does the guy in the middle have?
Doesn't look like the big guy has any gold whatsoever.
Does the big guy in the middle, the artwork, representation, whatever, does he look like the picture that I saw of religious figures in the fucking endless library when I found the book about the gods of this region?
No.
Okay. It was worth a shot to see if it was supposed to be a representation of Apollo or something.
No, it looks more like a champion of Apollo, or an apostle of Apollo.
Well, we've got two of those. I guess we could call them instruction plaques to either side.
Yeah. I'll shimmy on over to the one on the left.
You speak the god tongue, so you're gonna get more out of it.
Well, these also say a series of different stuff.
The walls?
Well, each of them, if you remember correctly, there's two types of two types of information you can get. One is the God's tongue, which doesn't change. And if a normal person looks at it, or anyone who doesn't know the God's language, it morphs into a language that you can understand.
Yeah.
Then
They say very different things.
then I will float over beside Italy and study it with him.
Okay. Anybody else wanna kind of move on over, or have any specific plan?
Who's going to look at these pillars?
Okay. Move a little bit of people around. Okay. Indrid, you want to move?
Indrid is in the kitchen for a sec. We'll be right back.
That's fair. All right. So we're gonna start with Ashen Fur. When you view it, it is not in a language you can understand, but then it starts to morph and change to one that you do. Welcome, weary travelers and adventurers of Skyhold. This will be your grand test. All is revealed. All challenges have been trialed. Now it is for test. Take what you've learned and what you've seen and what you've experienced, for you will need it all. There you go.
He just reads that out so people can hear.
Okay. Yours is something different.
Oh?
A trial before the Pantheon, a trial before gods. When mankind could, or when sentient kind could reach up from their mortality and challenge the entities on high themselves. A true story of David and Goliath. defeat the champion or perish. And there's that word again, perish. That's a super finality type of thing. That's like no take backsies, no +1s, no JK. Just kidding. It didn't stick. No, this will be a really life or death fight for your team.
Understood.
Yeah. But this is the big fight. This is floor 5. This will allow the status quo to be maintained for the side of Apollo. And throughout all of Skyhold. Which is pretty important. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say mine out loud so people can hear.
They're like, that's a little different, a little intense, you know?
Yeah. But I believe we got this.
We do. As for Phil, when you read your side, yours, of course, again, starts with as something you can't understand, but then morphs into something you can. Take what you've learned on this floor. Take your experience, what you've seen, what you've done, and once you've passed this floor, forget it, for it will only encumber you on your journey forward.
I'll run over and read the other side as well.
All right, as you go over and kind of take a peek at it.
Yeah.
God's Tongue again says something vastly different. Woe unto those who challenge Idea and Dale. Woe unto those who think the lessons taught by Apollo will save you. Woe unto those who come unprepared and have yet to steel their resolve.
As I read that one out loud as well.
Pretty spooky.
Yeah.
All right, you guys have both of the tablets read.
We'll do a spotlight on the one Eatsley just read with moonlight instead. See if there's anything hidden within those words.
No, it is completely laid bare in truth.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything on the pillars?
The pillars have some sort of pockmarked striation on them. They're very exact. They have these little, gosh, what do you call them? Kind of these indents that run perfectly vertical, and there's these 3-inch by 3-inch squares that are just kind of stacked on top of each other with a little kind of spiked star in the middle.
Okay.
And in between every stripe of the pillar, there's another set of these that go top to bottom. Set your teeth on edge when you get too close to it. Kind of like a vibration in your teeth. No words.
It's okay.
None of that.
So guys, I think we need to use the mirrors to either activate the
Yep.
the creature, the avatar, whatever, or Because it seems
Each
like
of
we can
the-
get access to them.
Each of the pillars are raised several meters off the ground, basically 10 feet equivalent or 3 meters worth. And it requires a little staircase of light to get up to. Each of the boxes are sealed off with that glass
Mm-hmm.
and as raised terrain, with the exception of the approaches that use the stairs.
Hmm.
So the mirrors are elevated.
Are we able to see this back here?
What is
The orb and throne?
yes,
Yes.
you can. All the way down. The orb is at a exact height into which the mirrors are positioned, as the throne is about 3 meters tall, or at least the seat for it is.
Okay, and there's no like statue on it.
No, just north.
Mhm. I'm gonna look at the Paladin of Apollo and like, do you recognize the statue in the middle? The big one.
Mm,
Watch
it's
her
old,
say.
but yes. That is one of before apostles were a thing. Before the true believers and followers, there were champions. And the difference between the two is night and day. Apostles are true believers to true worshippers. Doesn't matter what form you come in, as long as your worship is true and you have an unfaltering will in that faith, then you are worthy of being an apostle. You, of course, are tried and tested, but they are rather specific to who you are and what you're capable of. A champion is a warrior, someone who fights or even crusades in the name of that god. They have significantly more power, significantly more power than an apostle is given. But their trials are far more difficult, and there were, unfortunately, after a time, no one was able to complete those trials any longer. And the champion title for each of the gods has been it's fallen into antiquity. Thus the apostles. It's a new form of champion, I suppose, but you need not be a warrior. And the blessings you receive need not be for violence, battle, or war.
But a champion's must.
But a champion, yes, they are specifically there to be a vessel of that god's might.
I see.
But they are given a normal life of a mortal if you did not have one already. So if you were a monstre and you became champion, text says you had a normal lifetime to live. And you were permitted not a single day more. Any chances of immortality or ascension or any of that has been forever closed off to. It was a difficult choice for many. But those who became champion willingly and knowingly took it so that they could serve their god. I don't think it's actually going to be a champion. And unfortunately, the features on the statue haven't been well preserved or well carved in the first place. So I'm not sure who. It may just be a stand-in representative of champions to begin with. So just a champion. Or the path of the champion. I don't know. Yes.
Yeah, for all we know, it could be the spirit of a champion that passed on that was tasked with defending this place and given that form to do so.
Is that in character?
Yes.
No, these are. Have you noticed the theme? There are statues of soldiers, statues of paladins, statues of knights, all wearing some sort of marker of Apollo, but they have the vessel of an old enemy that Apollo and his followers have conquered. These constructs. So that is probably a giant construct. I don't know if a soul would be implanted in it, but our soul warden could find out.
Look at him and look at the statue.
Nope.
See if I sense.
It has been blessed by Apollo, certainly. But it is just like any other construct. This one is just gigantic.
I see.
It does not have a soul in it. But that throne, on the other hand, that has a powerful soul in it.
Really?
A caretaker.
Huh. I'm gonna look at everyone like, what do you think the odds are if I pass that statue, it's gonna attack me?
I would assume intent matters.
I would
mean-
concur.
I mean,
That-
if you look at this place, you could see this as the equivalent to a royal court, where the chamber past the glass encasements could be seen as the royal hall, which would explain why the army of golems out here is
Pretty
of the
significant.
significant but of the lesser grade, while within the hall you would have the knights, the champions, the heads of knight orders, and the various people that would be allowed within the hall.
Yeah, Apollo's
So
elite.
So if you treat this as a royal encounter where it could be taken as a rite of challenge to pass into a area protected by the royal family. So we are probably allowed to approach and discuss and inquire, but we would most likely have to follow what could be assumed to be court procedures, which would be, as far as I know from my readings, approach the entryway, announce yourself, wait to be granted permission to enter, request to approach, wait to be granted permission, and then once you've approached, offer a proper courteous bow, greeting, and request to discuss the details of this challenge. But then again, I could also be completely wrong. And the minute any of us step past the two gateway or encased areas, everything activates and comes after us. But
I think you're onto something with the first one.
I'm assuming that because based on my knowledge of Apollo, he is portrayed as an honorable, noble type figure.
I also agree with that.
So
You're pretty perceptive, aren't you, Fox?
I have read a lot of books. Then again, I have been alive for less than a month, so forgive me if I'm wrong on anything.
Doing pretty good for yourself.
I like to read.
Maybe a Hall of Remembrance?
Well, we're going to need to pick what we believe is the
I-
approach.
I've going based on the assumption of the first thing.
What's your assumption?
The approach should only be made by a limited number of people. If you're thinking royal attendance, you would have one person who is the leader, the one who speaks. You would have one person to his a step behind him to the left and to the right, which act as advisors who aren't allowed to speak to the person on the throne directly, but are forgiven for the discourtesy of leaning in to whisper suggestions and discuss with the approaching, I guess the proper term would be emissary.
Well, by my raid log, those are those those statues, that same permutation of gold and white.
Mm-hmm.
The third room where we had that first full-scale battle. Remember the one in the middle, the commander?
Yes.
Yes.
There's two of those there, so two commanders. And then that statue, I don't think we've come across it, but I saw it in the challenges arena. It was the elite, the one that Philippe fought, that almost took his life. The one with the golden spear.
Yes.
There's two of those, and then two more of those. So 4.
Yeah.
I see at least 8 of those crystalline knights, let alone the 2 here. So 10 in total. And then,
If
huh.
out of character, were the big gray ones or the green ones the ones represented by the centaur-like fast ones?
Let me just double check. The large gray ones.
So he'll be
The
like,
green ones next to them, those would be the tentacle knights, the grappling specialists.
so then we've got 8 of the horseman style and 8 of the grapplers.
Yep. Also, looks like the golden statues. Those are the hybrid berserkers. The half gold, half white.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like there's 4 and then 2 more, so 6 total. Those need to be seen to.
If
Those
this was
will
a
proc
fight,
terminus badly.
if this is a fight,
This is something. Now, taking off of Ashenfur's assessment, there may be a different way the fight will unfold depending on how we act. It does look like a court, and Apollo, you're correct, is an entity whose one of his primary tenets is honor, code of character, honesty, truth. So you'd be correct. Perhaps how we present ourselves will determine how the fight happens.
So far, each room and each adjacent room has had an aspect of one of the other gods,
True.
with the
Which
exception of Ziki.
I see. Do you see his uh, touch, presence, his influence somewhere in here?
I'm gonna look around. Is there anything here that reminds me of Ziki?
Yes, yes, it is, but it is not visible to the naked eye.
Oh, I'm
You're not
gonna-
sure, but you definitely know his presence is here, but it is huge to a scale that it's not visible. Same with the library that you set up.
yeah. Um,
What's up?
Eatsley, question.
yes.
What is Zeki's holy symbol?
It is a book in one hand and an object of death in the other. Knowledge and death. It varies
No,
from.
uh, I understand that. I mean the generally accepted symbol that, like our Paladin of Apollo, how he has the symbol of Apollo plastered on his breastplate.
The scale, you mean?
Or yeah,
Um,
the because if you look, and Ashen will, you know, pull out a piece of wood and use fabricate to make the shape. If you look at the pattern of the charging floors, it makes instead of ringing or lining the walls, it makes a unique pattern. Does this mean anything to you?
uh, GM, I have the book of. I've read all of his texts. As far as I was aware, he doesn't actually have a very specific holy symbol.
Does have 3, but it is not enforced. You are not required to put it on your person to show allegiance. You know,
Right.
but the 3 symbols are a medium of knowledge, whether it's a tablet, a book, a paper, anything that holds knowledge, even if it's a phylactery or some sort of crystal codex. Doesn't matter. The second is a weapon, one that is built to take life, not one to uh, not one for other purposes,
Right.
not to defend yourself. So you'll never see a shield unless there's something up. You see a shield on something that belongs to Ziki, it has a very specific purpose, and you haven't dove into that part of lore.
Yeah.
The third one is a scale, a balance scale.
Yeah.
But that one is the trickiest of the bunch. Because it comes in every single flavor. But the core image is a basic 2D printing of a scale.
Yeah.
I think to give you a good example, if you know the Magic the Gathering set Judgment,
Yeah.
the set symbol, that's what it would look like most likely.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the fucking measurement lines.
Yeah, it looks like a skull.
No, it looks like one of the Egyptian weigh scales, where there was a bowl with a platter of water on it in it, you know, and to either side had a hook coming down that had 2 small plates on either side.
Yeah.
Zeke
Can I?
does have, in the lore, just like Anubis, he does weigh your soul in the afterlife. And if you are proven by some standards good, you get to go meet your god that you worshipped. Because he still judges other apostles, other champions. He is the one who decides. Which is why he's so powerful. Because he could say, no, you've been an evil piece of shit. You're not going to your god.
Do you think the caretaker is then the representation of the statue? After they had their life, their mortal life, they went down to the afterlife of Zeke's realm, and then was deemed worthy, and now is sitting on that throne.
It would have to be, but
The throne in this representation, for all those who follow a god, that is not their throne. They're caretakers. That the individual would be a caretaker. They would not sit upon it. For the orb does, which is a direct, almost stand-in for Apollo. That's if he was like putting his finger on the map. That is Apollo's chair. And Afenza, in Apollo's direct absence, who you think is what you see on the carvings as Apollo's, the avatar of Apollo.
The
She's like, there's
speaker for
no.
Apollo, as it were. I said
Yeah, it'd
the
be a
speaker for Apollo, as it were.
You're not sure, because Loeffler actually comes over and hands the individual a set of binoculars, basically an artificer version. It lets you see pretty far. And after a while, the Paladin of Apollo is like, yeah, that's Anafenza. Oh boy. Not a champion of Apollo, champion of the Pantheon. Caretaker of the gods and their seats. So,
Not
that's
someone you wanna piss
basically the
off.
champion administrator. The one that, because the administrators have to be voted in, this would be a collective vote in of a champion. You still only get a normal lifetime, but when you pass on, you become a guardian spirit.
I want to take out not my Soul Warden lantern, but my Lantern of Zeke.
Mhm.
I'm gonna hold it up. I'm like, as it's one of my badges of office. I'm like, well, I think I'm gonna go try to talk to them.
If you're doing it, do it the court style. You should have 2 advisors following you.
Loftware also nods. Well, you can have an entourage. You just, if we're gonna make a court visit, whoever's in the front should not be you, Eatsley. That should be the raid leader.
Yes, which would be, as I hold up the lantern slate, Paladin.
Yeah. The Paladin of Nareem. He's just kind of the Redeemer. He's kind of studying the waters, kind of doing that airhead thing he does when he gets lost in thought. He's like, oh, action already. All right.
I'm just gonna look at Loftware. I'm like, are we sure about this one?
It's a representation. Just because they're the leader doesn't mean they have to be competent.
I would recommend Eatsley and Loveware act as his advisors, which would mean one to the left and right, a step behind him.
Well,
And if we're doing proper protocol, I will make a logic test here. Or what test do you want me to make to figure out what would be the proper way to organize this?
Do you have court or court etiquette? Because that's going to be the decider.
No.
Okay.
That has never been a thing as far as I know, so no.
That would be the details, finesse, and niceties of court etiquette. But you're not sure which court, so it might actually not help. Because if you know all different types of court, the only one you can think of is court etiquette for the gods, but there isn't such a text as that. Maybe it would be found in the last area of the Sky Library, the restricted area where you can only have one. You
Mhm.
might find the knowledge there. Outside of that, it's not really necessary most of the time because there usually isn't a manifestation or parody of the god's court
Fair
in the mortal
enough.
world. So
I agree with Philip. I look at the group. I request 5 minutes to phone a friend.
phone a friend.
Yep.
I call Dad.
Yep. I'm gonna cast Speak with Dad.
All right, you get a hello. Is this thing on? Is this thing working?
Yep.
Hello.
Yep.
Okay.
Go.
Oh, action fur. How are you?
In what looks like a pseudo court of the gods.
Oh gosh.
We're in a dungeon dedicated, this half dedicated to Apollos. So we're trying to figure out proper etiquette to not piss off. What was the person's name?
That would be Anafenza.
Anafenza.
Or if I heard that name before, I've heard this name before.
Uh,
One sec. As you kind of hear him get up and kind of shuffle around and start flipping through some books. Yes, champion of the Pantheon, the first and only champion of the Pantheon. Okay, that's it's interesting. All right. Court etiquette for the gods. There isn't anything in this book. Wow, that's useful. As you hear him go as he drops some sort of heavy book. Core of the gods, core of the gods, core of the gods. I'm gonna make a roll for him because even this one is tough. Even for Dungeon Dad.
yep.
He's
I
like,
will give him a boon to help.
aha! I knew the book I got from the Lord of the Winds was gonna be useful one day. But just not for me though. Interesting. All right. Okay. Oh, even bookmarked it. How nice. Yeah. Okay. So court. All right. So if Zeki's number is 0 or 1 in some cases, so 1 and 0, it's kind of overly. Apollo's number is 10. If you're going to approach him, take 10 with you. 10 people of import, decision making, representatives from other gods, that type of thing.
Okay.
Presenting of offerings is not required, but it is. They will accept it.
Okay.
Doesn't particularly do anything, just shows obedience. Let's see. So you hear him foot with big heavy paper. Gosh, let's see. Only spoken when spoken to, except if you're the one at the very front. You're allowed to be the unfettered mouthpiece of those who you represent. The individual who would represent Idirondale needs to be there. So, do you make sure Susie's there? Because unless you have another higher ranked Alkalite follower, worshipper of Idirondale, Without her presence there, Dirndale can take direct defense, which is not good. Well, as for the others, it doesn't particularly have any requirement. So you need a Darendale, the leader of the group, representative for her, and then you need no more than 2 advisors, no less than 2 advisors. 2 is the number here. The other 6 people,
We'll wait just inside the door.
if they are representatives of other gods, they get priority. If you don't have more people, then that's a little smudged. Look at that. Oh, gross. This is hard to translate. Yeah, if you have representatives of other gods, send the one with the highest rank. If there aren't any, and you still have spots left, fill it with important people of the group. Not specifically of what they're capable of, but their importance to the continent itself. Like,
heroes, knights.
Yeah, heroes, knights. Yeah, people who have a larger effect on the continent itself by their actions. Those people should fill in up to the 10. If you don't have 10, do not approach. Do not have 11, because that represents actually a bunch of different things. Holy crap, they have a whole page on what happens if you take more than 10 people.
So don't. Got it.
Yeah, no, it's bad. First, they challenge the right to basically say, why are you bringing more than 10? Because more than 10 means you consider yourself above Apollo, because his number's 10. And 11 means you're higher up, which is unacceptable. Everybody above 10, yeah, no, this is a giant pile of just horrible things that will happen to you lot. So 10. If you do less than 10, it shows that you are not of equal standing to Apollo, which means you unfortunately are you're not equal. I don't think I have to explain what happens if you're
Yeah.
So it'll be important on about how you address the representative. You said it was Anafenza. Oh yeah. Just be polite, I guess. Doesn't particularly say that you have to bow and scrape to the representative, especially if you're bringing 10, which means you're of equal standing, which should be representative of how you act, how you speak, and whatnot. You know. So, yeah. If you're further back in the chain, so it should be on the right hand. So you go in. Sorry, the tangent. So column of 5 deep, 2 wide. On the right side should be your group representative. On the left side should be your representative for Idarendale. If you're in Direndale's court, it would be the opposite. The guy on the left would be the Apollo's representative. Okay. Then you would stack the 2 advisors directly behind, and then you would do groups of 2, rank and file, until you achieved 2 people wide, 5 people deep. Okay. It also says if you're Direndale's representative, you actually get a voice. And you do not need to censor yourself. If you actually are a real follower of Idarendale, you are her voice and representative, so you have as much speaking weight as the person on their right. Everyone else, unless spoken to directly, you are not permitted to speak. Unless you're an advisor, you're allowed to whisper to the individuals ahead of you. Everyone else is just a stand-in. Unless spoken to directly, they are not to be. No, they are not to address anyone or speak out. Those who break protocol are smited. Wow, that's final. Wow. Okay. That's tough.
Phil is definitely going to be part of this line. He is a high priest of a god.
Nareem's already included, though.
What?
Nareem's already included, though, with the leader.
Yeah, that's true.
Fair enough. Okay.
The guy who is the representative does not need to be a follower of Apollo. He is your leader, and thus is the one with the voice, the one who possesses the equal standing with the representative.
I have a question here.
Mhm.
Well, Lisa has a question for Dad.
Okay.
I am just being the mouthpiece right now.
I'm like, so this is my brain and my curiosity. As Ziki is both 1 and 0, does that mean Apollo or Ziki should approach by themselves? As 1 and 0 is 10?
Yes, but that's also 0 and 1, which is 1, which is the lowest.
Yes.
So it's meant to represent the number that is not and the lowest number. But that does not mean you are without power, because you are both numbers. It also represents an impossibility. You know? It also more actually represents the scales. Fairness. Academia. The concept of numbers, counting. It also represents death. 1 being alive, 0 being not.
Yeah.
Concept of binary, black and white, fairness, yes or no. Yeah.
And that's why I was just curious if I should approach alone or not.
If you are the advisor, then you play the role of advisor. If you are going as a direct representative Ziki, then I think you got a little bit of leeway. So, but you'd be your own individual, and how you represent yourself is actually going to determine if you're an equal or a fool. And I will say that you are one or the other, because you either fill in as an equal to Ziki's brother, Apollo, or you're the court fool because you didn't approach correctly. So if you're going to go, make sure you got your priestly effects, your rope, your weapon of death, and your weapon of knowledge, or your object of knowledge. And you should probably only speak in God's tongue.
I'm just like, I haven't spoken God's tongue in a while. Ever. Alright, we'll try.
Because if you go as such and you speak in the tongue of mortals,
I'm the fool.
Yeah, you kind of set yourself up for failure.
Fair enough.
But if you're going as advisor, you don't need to worry about that. You can still go dressed as a representative Ziki. You can just go dressed as an advisor. Completely different court rules. This book is extremely informative.
I know. Why haven't you given that to me?
Because I didn't know.
Oh,
Look, the Lord of Winds gave this to me, saying I'll need it someday down the line. When was I supposed to know this was going to be useful in any capacity?
Can I get a copy?
That is not correct.
So I can study this?
No, it was gifted to me, and if the Lord of Winds finds out that I have given it to somebody else, even if it's my children, our dungeon might get a visit from the Lord of Wind. I don't think if you guys want to fight I wouldn't say fight, but if we had to, we wouldn't live. But
no, I've already got an angry tornado spirit that wants to fight everything beside me.
No, this is the Lord of Wind. This is the dragon who controls all air and wind.
Yeah,
that includes your spirit.
No, that's why I'm saying I've already got enough problems with the tornado spirit. Don't need any more.
Yeah. If there ever comes a conflict, if the Lord of Wind can tell your tornado spirit to do anything, because he's the Lord of Wind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's a conversationalist. Either we talk in extremely quick bursts, or it's oh gosh, a single conversation could take days. Because whatever way the wind blows, right?
I thought you were going to say he's long-winded.
He is. He can be long-winded, or it is hyper
A
bursts
very
of
short
incredible.
gust.
Yeah, a gust, a tornado. He is wind. And a represent. Never mind. Anyways, any other questions?
Not really. We've
Okay.
got to go through and figure out who's the who for the representatives and stuff.
Okay. Any questions for me before the spell ends?
Looks at the family. Anybody got any other questions for Papa Gall?
Oh, yes, right here.
Go ahead, Easley.
Has he started talking to Mom again?
Oh my god.
There is a silence.
Like,
What was that again? I couldn't hear you.
I will look at Easley and say he is feigning call interference.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Well,
Oh.
looks like we know our next arc. Go liberate Mom from those vile genies and steal her away to home and fix the relationship with Dad.
That's not true. I still have to go to the underworld.
All right. After that, pits off to the underworld
World.
and go get Mom.
All right. All right. So we have representatives for most of the gods here. So we're gonna need
Yes.
Paladin of Apollo, Susie. We're gonna need
So we need them spread out to either side. So Paladin of Apollo here, Susie here.
so Redeemer here.
Yeah.
Susie here.
Yep.
We need Einless. We're gonna need Leolel.
Well, first we need to decide on the two advisors because they don't have to specifically represent a god.
This is true. I would highly recommend Loftware.
You're right though. So the primary and secondary advisor depends on right or left.
Yeah, considering right is dedicated to Apollo, left is dedicated to Idirondale. So whichever side you lean more toward should dedicate which advisor goes to which side.
I'm gonna look at Loftware and like, that's up to you. I think if I was on the side of Apollo, he might smite me for a factor of yes.
No. He's like, that's fair.
One, 2, 3,
And
4,
we
5,
need
6,
two
7,
more.
8.
Anybody else dedicated to a god here?
Philippe is the high priest. I also think Cheapney should come.
He is a hero aspirant. Yep.
Yeah, so Cheapney gets to follow behind. We need one more powerful player within Skyhold.
Doesn't need to be Skyhold. It's talking about the continent.
I thought this continent was Skyhold. That was my
Nope.
misinterpretation.
Skyhold is its own planar dimension. The continent is the mortal world.
Yeah.
That's the usual name for it. Skyhold is Skyhold. That has nothing to do with the continent.
So an important player within
The mortal realm.
the mortal realm.
Yes.
Oh,
No, I don't think I could pull that off. Uh, it's either gonna be Philippe. As it has to be Philippe. Maybe the Monster Merchant. I'm not
The
sure on
Grand
that
Knight.
one.
Well, Grand Knight has accomplishments across the continent.
Oh, there we go. Good night, Fairhawk.
He is a Grand Knight, after all.
Eh. As I wander over and begin floating around, giving final instructions, just being the making sure of blah and blah and blah, and warning that if you break protocol, according to what we've learned, there is no, are you sure about this? You are just smote.
A couple people are like, that's rather it's rather
Uh,
final.
Yeah, well, by the way, Redeemery, your raid lead, while giving a gift isn't of obedience is not required, it is an option. Do we have something we want to offer as a gift to the representative of Apollo and Apollo? Because we are treating this as a court occasion.
No, I'm not going to be giving more of my possessions after we dealt with Paragonus. And his Leolels is like, yeah, not that shit again.
Understand. It was just one of the things that was optional. But
Go ahead.
just remember, Redeemery, Susie, you are the only ones allowed to speak.
Freely.
Eats freely. Eats Loftware. You two will be allowed to whisper to the two who are allowed to speak. Everybody else, don't speak unless spoken to. Blah, blah, blah. And it's up to you guys now.
As a note, GM, I will have the tapestry I made as my symbol of knowledge in one hand or one arm,
Eh,
and my Malkaweed in the other. So yeah,
let me hit the refresh button for myself because map is big. Map is big.
Big.
All right, you guys ready?
yep.
All right, I'm gonna move you all at once. Da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da. All right. You guys will have to quickly make your way across the electrified tiles. Redeemer will take you guys to the right of the statue. And appear here. And this person will flow out of the seat. I will make their character sheet available for you guys to see in
I love that
the
card.
critters, and yeah, I liked it too. That is who you see when you come out, and offends the champion of the Pantheon. That's in critters and characters.
Now the important question. Is she
Mhm.
actually smiling?
Mhm.
Hmm.
Welcome. This person does not sit on the throne. They merely stand in front of it. At rest. Sword at their side.
I'll bow.
Yeah, everyone kind of does a bow. And then we'll give a nod in return. You have arrived. It is good to see the next group of adventurers, travelers, monstre. You are here to seek the challenge of Apollo, to be worthy of his trials. Question is, are you ready? Apollo almost speaks up. May I have a moment to deliberate with my entourage and my advisors to answer that question, if you wish. And Apollo, or the Redeemer, will kind of turn to you guys. Well, that's a big question.
I think we are. Are you?
I was about to say yes, but since I'm the representative of the whole group,
Out of character, remember I reminded you that this would be the best opportunity to inquire about the rules of this engagement and to not make assumptions which could screw us.
I am. But I will look at Redeemer and I'm like, you should ask for clarification before we start, though.
one of the things I was thinking of.
And ask if when you ask what the trial is, ask for what, I don't say this, what the trials are. I doubt there's a singular one.
Of course. Susie, what about you?
I think we are ready because we have entered every room. If we left the other two doors closed, then I would say we are not ready. But I think we have, like the tablet said, all the tools, the experiences of this place. I don't think we missed any. I know we didn't
Yes.
miss any. There might have been something hidden within it, and maybe I missed that because I can't use my seer abilities, but I feel like we are ready.
I think we should say we're ready for the. That might be presumptuous.
Could be.
We were told to. No, this is cut in half. I see what the trial is. One side is probably going to be the side of Apollo, while the other side is the side of Adirondale. If there's going to be balance. I say as I think out loud.
Nothing seems to happen.
No, but like that's just my thought process there. I was like, it was what the palette said about Adirondale.
Right, but her section's next. But also, it could mean, balance here, but I don't see a Dirondale's representative or throne, or I don't really see a Dirondale's presence anywhere here.
I feel like one of the most important things is going to happen after we complete this challenge.
Maybe.
It will be the door between both the Apollo and Adirondale is the connecting point, right?
You actually know a little bit about Dirondale's lore, Susie. Apollo is the champion and patron of heroes, knights, soldiers, people of
Mhm.
renown. Direndale's the champion and patron of the meek,
Right.
the lessers, those that live day to day, those who are, even some would say, helpless.
I would kind of look around like, what if we're not? This is just my thought. What if we're not meant to win this?
What do you mean?
These are all knights of Apollo, and knight, right? And Apollo is honorable, and he follows kind of a code.
Mm-hmm.
His opposite is the meek, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is to overwhelm us to get us to surrender in order to win?
We're still on the side of Apollo. If I was on Direndale, I might have traction.
And that's
But in
true.
Direndale is about honor. Surrendering is, in most cases, it's not honorable. And the Island of Apollo is, no, surrender is for the meek. Surrender is for those who can't, those who have given up but wish to live. Apollo would rather you martyr yourself, die fighting, never surrender.
He too looks like he's about to say something, but doesn't.
What were you thinking?
In my head, I'm like, oh, yes, that's why you got your ass beat.
Doesn't matter. Like, she fought to the death, literally.
Yeah.
So,
But it's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading too much into what the other tablet said. Because
Toothpaste Traveler's like, I have that itch to do a thing.
I'm gonna put a finger to their nose.
Oh, that's very distracting.
Yes.
It's actually really distracting. Get it off now.
I'm gonna pull my finger away.
Ah,
And see, that's how you saw an itch.
but it wasn't on the nose.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Anyways, Redeemer, ask questions.
Very well. And you'll turn back. Remember, Susie, you can also talk at any time.
I know.
Champion of the Pantheon at Fenza, we wish to have some clarification before we begin. Speak. What is the nature of the trial? It is a test. Simple as that. Put what you have learned and seen and experienced to the test. It should be on the plaque. The inscription all the way back there. I saw you collectively read and share that information, so you should know. As for the nature of the trial, it will be revealed to you when you say you are ready. I am not going to give you the answers you seek so that the trial becomes easier for you. Going in with knowledge ahead of time. Paula wishes you to meet your test head on. You do not need exceptional levels of preparation, like Direndale would suggest. Very well. Are there any rules in particular that we must adhere to during this trial? Adhere to your own codes. Be who you are. especially if you follow another god. Be who you are meant to be. And for those who aren't following, stick to your code. Be honorable.
Is the trial only for us 10, or is it for the whole group of us?
All those who have entered the room will be put to test.
I see. Can we bring in people after the fact once the trial begins?
If they are summons, contracted individuals, if they are to be added as a full member of the raid party, no. But if they are a helper, an assistant, a squire, individuals who would not be counted as core raid members, those individuals are allowed and permitted. If you were to add more to your number, 25 is what you are permitted, and you may have no less or no more. If you have many who fall, that is the only exception to having less than the appropriate number. You must maintain the number unless death finds you. Such that you may not leave unless the whole raid group decides to leave. And you may not bolster your numbers sufficiently to even make up for the lack of those who have fallen.
I'm gonna tap Susie's shoulder
Mm-hmm.
and whisper into the ear. All summons and contracts?
It seems that way, as long as they are helpers.
I'd ask for a clarification on that.
Clarification, how so?
I'm gonna look at you for a second. Like, you were there. You saw him. I'm not gonna say his name out loud. For clarifications for you, Johnny, the Zorkelbug is technically a contract.
It is a contract.
Snorkel bug.
Yeah,
No.
you know, your
No.
family average Zorkelbug.
Oh,
you
demon
know.
summoning. Yeah, I got you. I
Yeah,
got you.
little Zorkelbug. Just helping out like you normally do.
That's why I said all contracts and summons. Because they just said contracts and summons.
I'm not going to talk about that.
It's a clarification. That's what I said. And that's why I asked for you to ask.
My advisor asks if it's all summons, or is there an exception to the rule?
Very interesting question. In this particular case, I will mediate and say all summons. The summons, on the other hand, must adhere to your code of honor and character. And the actions of your summon will be summarily judged if they fall out of honorable interaction and decisions. The individual who is the contractor will also be held in judgment, identical judgment to that of the summon. You are responsible for them. What they do reflects upon you directly. They are punished, so are you.
I see where Ziki's influence is.
I'm ready for the challenge.
No, I said trial. I can put you to challenge, though.
I was about to say trial after that, but yes.
There's a very vast difference. If you find yourselves more than ready, I may put you to challenge, not to test.
That's a good clarification. I appreciate that.
Well, I'll ask a clarification. What is the difference between the two? Being put to test is very simple. Apollo has engineered this room with the help of others. This is a specific encounter, so to speak, like out of a storybook, out of a fable. And you must merely either know the fable and accomplish it to its conclusion, or find another way to overcome it since you know the story. If you know not the story, there are clues all around this room. Putting to challenge completely removes the need for a fable. You will be put in turbulent waters. You either sink or swim. Many of you will fall. If I put you to challenge, there will be deaths. Many will have to make a sacrifice so that others may succeed. Others will have to make terrible, terrible decisions to determine the fate of others or themselves. And the true natures of every single member of your group will be revealed as the light of Apollo shall force them with the challenge they are presented with, for they will be unable to hide their secrets, the powers and abilities they've kept withheld, their capabilities, everything. They will need it. But if you succeed in the challenge, Apollo will grant you all a direct blessing, no less powerful than that of Nareem, that has been bestowed upon specific members. If you succeed in the challenge, Ziki may show mercy to those who fell and weigh the actions of those who survived with those who didn't. And if he finds you wanting, you will move on. If you do not, if you are proven worthy, you might be given a second chance. If you fall in the test, well, you automatically found wanting. And you will not be permitted resurrection in this room.
Well, Redeemery.
Thank you, champion. Could I have another moment to speak with my entourage and advisors? Do so. You have a terrible decision ahead of you. The rewards for taking the test are minimal, but all of you will be well compensated and access to the next set of floors, 6 through 10, will be permitted. And you will have to deal with Adirndale. And maybe I will see you at the 10th floor again, if there's any of you left. If you take challenge, that is a different beast entirely. Very well. He turns back to you guys like, holy shit, okay, this is a... We're going to need a full agreement from everybody. And the Paladin of Apollo is like, this is a choice of leaders. The 10 of us get to decide for the rest. They literally said it in their own words. Us 10 get to decide if we go to test or to challenge. And everyone else will have to agree.
Then I will speak beforehand and say, I do not wish to make the challenge.
All right. Alpha is like, We are particularly ready. We have kept the terminus down as low as possible. I am worried about the difficulty increase, especially with the declaration for well, the way of Apollo. Face the challenge blindly and full of faith. Which means we don't get prep time, nor can we go back to our companions and speak to them. We must decide here now. Which means if we pick challenge, it most likely begins immediately. And we will need exceptional teamwork. Exceptional coordination. We will need to act without much or any excess or inefficiency. We will need to push this to the limit. And I trust in Offenza when they say there will be those of us who will fall. But apparently Ziki is here. And you may be granted life if your team succeeds through your actions. Whatever that means.
I'm willing to risk it.
I am as well. I have not been put to trial like this in such a fashion. I hate to say it, but I am for a challenge. Ardemi's like, I have to think of everyone else. I am for test. So we got 2 and 2. Kind of goes down the line. Two-Face Forever is like, I'll say this. Since you stifled what I was about to do, I will be helpful in challenge. I will be a detriment in test. That's how it's gonna go. Two-Face, sorry. Paladin of Apollo's like, I fear not. I flinch not. And I will meet this challenge face first. Eyeless kind of scratches your chin. It would, analytically, challenge would better prepare us and steal our resolve and morale if we succeed for a Darendale's floor. And that blessing might be absolutely critical to our success. We may end up spending resources we can't afford to lose if we complete the test as through challenge instead of taking it through test. And we still may not be then prepared to try floor 60-10. You know, because we may need those one-time resources or abilities that must be restored or some manner. Upside, we haven't touched any of the Ethereum pools other than for testing. So if we go back and collect all of the Ethereum and we do exceptional prep work, if we complete challenge, a Darendale is about prep. You know? So we haven't really touched any of the Ethereum pools for any sort of manner for restocking resources or refreshing abilities or refilling mana pools. using it for alchemy, making potions, whatever it is. We haven't really touched that resource very deeply, if at all, which means we could get away with resource loss if we go to challenge, but we can be exceptionally prepared if we only take test, since we will still be most likely able to go back and collect all of the Ethereum, which then we have a huge reservoir of resource rather than using that reservoir to refill what was lost during challenge. So this is a resource management conundrum as well. What are we going to need to use to succeed in challenge versus what can we preserve and nurture going into the next floor if we take test?
By their words, everything.
Yes. And we have a ton of water still. We've tapped into that a decent bit, but we have a ton of water. And we have all of the Ethereum with the exception of the samples you took, Susie. So come back to me. This will be tough. Lil kind of squints at the lot of you. I vote test. I'm going to betray one of you if we do challenge. Feel it roiling through my rotten marrow. Vikaroom demands action, especially when it comes to matter. He demands chaos, he demands murder, betrayal. I'll tell you this now. I will be killing one of you 9 if we go to challenge. On test, well, betrayal will still happen. I will sick my minion on you, and you will need to fend it off. It's slow, durable, but strong. So if you can outpace it, it will most likely be unable to keep up. But if it corners you, you cannot beg me for mercy, nor it. I vote test. Harrowhawk is like, A knight, especially that of a grand knight, does not flinch away from challenge. But he must also choose his battles. This is very difficult in the nature that we know not the challenges we are about to face. We know not even that for the test, which concerns me greatly as a tactician. We know nothing, and we'll have to learn on the fly and have exceptional communication, coordination, and unity. I hate to say it, but I am last in the line. I would probably vote test. Cheapney's like, a hero doesn't back down! A hero would face the challenge and fight. Susie, you see a little curl of a smile on Enofen's face from Cheapney's exuberance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna no, I would rather have Leo betray us here than on the upper floors.
Oh, I will do that too. There will be a betrayal on both sides of the coin. But I will do my best to let you know when it is demanded of me. If it isn't demanded and I am able to get it out of the way with something more innocuous, then I will do so immediately. And you will be shocked and abhorred, and you will feel betrayed. But at least it's out of the way. Two sides of the coin.
So, if my count here is correct, we have exactly 50-50.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna be like, all right.
Then, if it's 50-50, it must be the two at the front that talk it out. And both of you must come into agreement. And the only ones who can speak on the matter are the advisors. It looks like there's a tie. So,
Yep.
Susie, Redeemer looks at you and goes, well, protocol dictates that it's between you and I.
Redeemery, if I die, my world tree will die first, and then I will die.
Well, yeah, that's
I take damage enough that I am still recoverable from my Moxter Core, my world tree would be gone. And that
Sure.
can happen throughout this encounter either way.
right.
It's just
More likely for it to happen in challenge, though.
Correct. Which is why I figured it was best to go with the test and then rely on my benefits that I've received from Idirondale for the next round. Because if I am gone when we pass for the next, well, it'd just be like us losing the Paladin of Apollo for this round here.
Well, that is unfortunately. Your only stipulation that you don't want to go to challenge is that you don't want to lose your world tree, not the well-being and care for others.
One sec.
You're good.
No, that is not true. It is just one of the things that I consider while I deal with this challenge, because I'm the one who decided to say challenge. If I did not say challenge, we'd have done the test. Don't you agree?
We would have, but we most likely would have asked enough questions that it would have been either discovered another way or presented to us at the very end.
After we completed the test, would you like to do the challenge instead?
That too, or before we officiate our choice on tests, Anafenza may have revealed that there was another option.
Of course.
Yes. I don't think we're going to be able to. Actually, hold on. Anafenza, if we take test, can we take challenge afterwards? And they shake their head. You pick one or the other. The trial, so to speak, overall, whether you choose test or challenge, will only be able to be performed once. The champions here will not be reconstructed because you feel unrewarded for your efforts, or maybe not rewarded enough. I believe your group fully capable of either. It's
So,
rare to
Matt,
say sometimes.
out of character, are the other three members not going to be included in this?
The other three players?
Yes.
Well, you have a network, a friend network.
Yeah.
You can communicate with them. So the question is up to you. But at the same time, court dictates no. They did not get a spot in line. They're not part of the 10, so they do not get a say. But you kind of have a loophole with your friend network through the world tree.
Right.
So you could ask their opinions.
Right.
So
I guess my question was they're not going to be they're going to be talking and opinionating, but they're not actually going to be included in this this challenge.
Precisely. Well, no, everyone, whether you choose test or challenge, that's it for everyone. All
Yeah.
25 people plus summons plus contracts plus anything. It's test or challenge. That's it. It's not just you 10 put the challenge. All 25 people.
I thought in the wording you said only the people within this square are going to be included in this challenge. That's what I thought you said.
No. I
Okay.
apologize if there was a misunderstanding, but you 10 are deciding the fate of all 25.
That's why I asked about the summons and stuff, if people could be brought into this 10 zone. That's why I asked.
If they are a raid member equivalent, no. If they are a summon or contractee, yes. Somebody who is a servant or a assistant or helper, but is not a full raid member. Such as the elementals, or even Zorkelbug would count, because he is a contractee, and you must pay for his services. Heck, you could even argue if the merchant wasn't part of the raid group, a monster merchant summon coin could be used to summon him for business. And that would be a summon. So
Hilariously enough, your archmage that's up there can summon me because we have a contract.
right. And had you had that going in, they would have been a contractee following Ashenfur around, just like his spirits, and then you would have another raid person spot. But they would get no say in pretty much anything. They would not be rewarded like the raid members do. They would not be given access to loot as the raid members have, unless their contractor grants them a gift.
Mhm.
So, and it would come out of their personal pocket. So it's nice to have more people, but they get nothing out of this other than fulfilling their contract or being a summon. Which could end up creating problems down the line, especially if you have to put more and more effort, more and more work, more and more danger, and you get nothing. Yikes.
I just wanted to make sure people were going to be included in this. I just didn't want them to be left out. That's all.
No, that's definitely a consideration, but we're in crunch time. We are in high stakes. So, if you want to reach out to Indrid and Philippe and Ashenfur, do so now, because the decision must come soon.
Yeah. Indrid, Ashenfur, Philip. Which one do you guys want to do?
I personally have no opinion. Because
You need to have an opinion. Come on,
I understand
bud.
you're indifferent is an opinion, but I like just tell me one yes or no.
Give me a basic rundown of which is which again.
Were you not listening?
Challenge mode, hard. Easy mode, test.
We've been going balls to the wall on this, so I would say hard mode.
Okay.
Because we're doing this because we want the best effects for us and the best effects for Skyhold outside. So doing the hard difficulty seems the more advisable, even if it's the more risky.
Hard mode is only going to affect us. We're going to get a blessing of Apollo if we do this.
Even better, we should do it out of spite, forcing Apollo to bless Monstre. I wouldn't actually say that in character, but yes, I would say hard mode for various reasons.
All right. What are so you're for hard mode?
Yeah,
Okay.
the challenge.
What about Indrid or what about you, Indrid?
Are you up for hard mode or easy mode? Indrid's up for easy mode.
All right. Philippe. What are you feeling, bud?
No, we came here for tests. That's what the whole thought process at the beginning was. We didn't learn about challenge until after.
If I remember right, based on what we know, the last group that came here only succeeded in progressing through the 4th room.
No, they got to the 5th, and then they stopped.
They probably did test and they left.
Well, that's the thing. They did test and left. We do challenge, we get a blessing of Apollo, and then we continue into the 6th floor.
There may be other rewards because you will get a reward regardless, test or challenge. But the scale of the rewards will be determinant on which one you pick. So if you were to say, get a pile of Aether Stones and other cool ingredients, if you did test, it would be 1 or 2 grades lower than if you did challenge. It's all in proportion to the difficulty.
We're going to be either way. We're going to the next floor.
Yes, pretty much. You may choose at the end of test or challenge to just say, "We're done, fam." Because if you complete the 5th floor here, you will be given the option to just collectively leave. And if there's a unanimous vote, then you guys are all sent outside, and the current status quo of Skyhold will remain for the next 10 years.
Challenge is harder. Challenge gives more reward.
It's going to be a lot harder. I set the map up specifically for either.
All right. So 3 for challenge, 2 for test.
Wait, did Phil say challenge?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what he wrote.
Okay, but it's still up to you two. You, Susie, and Redeemery.
My 3 other family members that are with us have decided 2 for the challenge and 1 against.
Huh. Well, at least they're alerted. That's an interesting.
Cheat.
Yeah, that's an interesting little bypass. Fascinating. Well,
Fate is interesting that way, isn't it?
Well, if you think it, that's actually fascinating. We could actually pull off challenge because we have an immediate ability to communicate with the other group. Ash, who'd you give the bag of sand to?
Oh, the back is sand.
Yeah.
If I remember right, I gave that to Redeemery.
Yeah. He's like, I have this little neat little object here from your family member Ashenfer. We have the ability to do some teleport thing.
Okay.
I can. It's within 10 feet of me. I can teleport me and everyone within 10 feet of me to the other bag. Or vice versa.
All right. Kind of just shrugs a little helplessly, like, I want to protect as many people as possible, but I also wish to respect their wishes. If we have a little bit of time, ask your family members to go ask the others, and then report back. And if the majority of them say challenge, then we should probably do what the group wishes.
That's a fair way to do it. I think they should also figure out what the story is. Maybe that's only happening if we pick trial anyway. So,
clarification: if we pick challenge champion, will the plaques, the scripture that we were presented back there, provide any helpful hints? They might, if you can spare a moment to read them. They will only be in God's tongue, though. And I think only one person here is able to translate, and they're very far away. But it might have clues, and it might be helpful. I cannot say for certain, for I'm not the one who writes the information on those. That would be up to those who have a direct hand in this particular trial.
Well, I will wave everybody over to gather up.
All the DPS syndrome folk, they're like, challenge! Knife Snake is like, his beady red eyes start to glow in anticipation of murder.
All right, so we got challenge from these people.
Yeah. Your DPSers are just like, let's go, let's do it.
Clockwork Inquisitor is probably different, but yes.
He'd prefer a test. He
So-
is a expert prepper.
So
So
So we've got 5 for challenge, 1 for test. What about Dabbler?
Dabbler kind of likes to go with the flow. He's for test. He's a very,
Okay.
I'd rather not.
Battle Chicken. Just put a hand to each side. Back the ground in front of it. Left side test, right side challenge.
Gives you a steely glare.
It's a challenge.
Accepted. Beauregard!
Yes.
Test or challenge?
Well, what does that mean?
Test, easy mode. Challenge, hard mode.
Oh, gosh.
Hard
I'm
mode
not sure
testing.
what...
Hard
I'm not
mode,
su-
hard mode reward, or hard mode, if we succeed, comes with the reward of a blessing of Apollo.
But that's the only difference. It's just a blessing? Not to take light of blessings, of course. Yeah, only granted to the worthy. But still...
There may be other unspoken rewards.
I'd rather do a test. Unless there's a little bit more in the prize pool at the end for old Beauregard here. If there's a little bit more for me, I wouldn't mind putting my neck out for a challenge. But test, unless it's worth something to old Beauregard here.
If you want something as an extra incentive, don't worry about it. We're just getting opinions right now. So test. So that's 3 for test, 6 for challenge. Zoffeljack.
Test. I'm not here to receive a blessing from the gods I don't subscribe to.
But
They can go kiss whatever blessing they were going to grant us. Goodbye. I don't really care. I'd rather survive, because I don't also want to subscribe to the mercy of Zeke, so that I may be granted life again. He might just do it out of spite.
Jackass,
Huh?
test or challenge?
Who's Jackass?
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
said Drackass.
Drekas. I would be put at severe risk. But I do have a class quest that requires me to put myself at risk, but both would be... I don't know if test would also apply. I mean, I would be putting myself at risk. But would it count towards the quest? I must, do something particularly dangerous. Something that I would most likely perish from. And I must freely give from my trove to those in need, so that we all may succeed, which I'd almost rather die than to just give things away for free.
Yeah, I can understand the difficulties of that.
But part of the quest is also assessing and acquiring objects of divinity. And a blessing wouldn't hurt, especially if it's a custom one. And you can literally see him running like a risk reward like calculation kind of in
Yep.
his head. I'm for either. Call me both. I suppose I wouldn't be objective against challenge. But if it got me one of the things I require, this is difficult for me. Please circle back around.
Okay, only one other person to ask, and I will cast Comprehend Languages and float up to Rampart. Rampart, would you prefer test or challenge?
As he kind of thumps his breastplate, and the kind of groaning, creaking, and grinding of stone and wood.
That's why I cast Comprehend Language first.
Yep. To him, he will be the bulwark, the object that the enemy must pass through before and overcome before he allows anyone else to come to harm. He will be the focus, he will be the target, and he will hold out as long as he can, no matter the choice. That is what he was always built for, and he will honor his architect's wish to be the thing that protects.
Okay, so I will page back. We have 6 for challenge, 5 for test, and
2 for both.
and 2 for both, with Drackass running numbers in his head. One moment. Drackass, final decision. 5 seconds.
No. Don't put that on me. 5 seconds, no. Can you get some clarification on what the rewards will be? Or what conditions are going to be blindly restricted or doesn't count towards quests? Ask something about quests.
I will pose that to Susie and Redeemery. Well, Susie, because Susie has the thing.
Yeah. The group wants to know what the rewards are going to be.
I will not tell you that.
I figured
This
as
is
much.
a thing of faith and fate.
I understand that. The only important part you've said so far is our actions that will be judged while the
Yes,
challenge is done.
it will be. Yes, there is going to be difficulty, and it may take some time for that judgment to come. Especially for the dead.
All right, so Susie's going to say to the friend network,
You didn't ask anything about quests.
I did not ask anything about the quest.
You asked about rewards. Rewards means everything. Quests are specific. Quests are not technically rewards. Quests are quests.
Paladin Redeemer, can you ask about quests? That's what they're asking about as well. And Susie's going to talk to the friend network and say, everyone, please try to look for things in God's tongue. Itzali will be the translator. We need to find as much information on this puzzle as possible before we start, because everything else will disappear. Also, keep track of the things that do disappear, because those will be tells that are what we needed to, know in the first place.
And Offenza, champion of the Pantheon, we wish clarification about quest progress, and quest completion in regards to this. Either will suffice. If it specifically says in your quest that it is something that requires an exceptional challenge or exceptional difficulty or anything of a modifier of something more hard to, or difficult to accomplish, that will be your problem. You will need to do challenge for that, if any descriptors say as such. If they don't, test is fine. Test will accomplish the goal. Is there anything special that can be? Is there anything special that may appear regarding quests or receiving a quest or something of the like as part of the reward system? That is an interesting question. The ability to clear more difficult quests, such as mythic, legendary, title, labor, will most likely be given additional, or, well, the only way you can make progress on such a thing is if you take challenge. That doesn't mean it's for every quest, for each as individual, granted by the administrator. But the more difficult quests of those 4 varieties will most likely have the ability to progress and gain progress in specifics if you take challenge, less likely on test. As for a reward system, you might be, if you forego some of the rewards you will get at the end of challenge, you could ask for quest progress. The administrators do adhere to the Pantheon, and I am the champion of the Pantheon. I can personally ask any administrator to reward you quest progress, even if you have not performed the action to checkmark it. That could be part of the reward if you so wish, or you can be given a quest of your choice that you've been lacking or trying to find the requirements to acquire.
That just reinforces my one for the challenge.
If it is a labor, I would personally have to speak with the god in question who gave it. But I am permitted audience to each and every one. And if your actions are worthy, I think is the only applicable term. If you are found worthy, you will most likely be given the favor that you are looking for with said god under that labor. It's not a guarantee. I can only ask. And they are all watching. Especially here. So, it is time. What say you? Test or challenge? Redeemer will look over to Susie.
We will go with challenge.
Then challenge it is. Very well. Everyone roll initiatives. We're fighting now.
Did they do what I asked them to do with Eatsley?
Yep. Mhm.
Okay.
Everyone's looking around. Dothajek kind of goes over. Jackass actually goes to the very middle because he knows the statues at the doors will animate. DPS crew starts to spread out quickly.
I am floating beside our monster merchant.
DM, as Redeemer was talking, I'm gonna go ahead and just drink deep.
Okay.
I'll say about
You might want to open the initiative tracker
Well,
so the initiative actually pops up.
yeah, I put all the other characters in. I was not just going to reveal it.
Mm.
All right, Battle Chicken. Ooh, not bad.
Fight time, Alley Girl.
Zalthajag, you're about the same. You're slow as hell. That's too bad. Spiker, you are not slow. Spiker ain't slow. This ain't no Weeble Wobble. Lawfare is pretty slow. Yeah. Alright. Yellow. You're not as fast as the other. Oh. Never mind. Never mind. You are definitely firing on all cylinders here. Alright, Clockwork. Alright. Two-Faced Reveler. Alright. Neat. Murder Goose. He's another speedy boy. It's all about that murder, bruh. Never mind. He rolled like ass. All
1,
right.
2, 3.
Battle Master. He's a little bit. Nope, that's not right. Not 101.
Like
Drop
it.
lowest one. No, it's an exclamation point. 15. Oh, no, he didn't roll that well. Oops. Let Titan be your god. Oh me, oh my. All right, 22. Damn. Initiatives, please, Philip. It's time for fight. Dabbler is going to do a wandering technique here. He is just going to go second.
I will probably also do a wandering technique here after I see the enemy's initiatives.
And the Paladin of Apollo will use their divine blessing of light to go first.
Oh, will they now?
Yep.
Well, guess what?
It's like,
All right.
I'm gonna.
Monster Merchant. Ugh. They only have a D6 because they're very heavy. Wow, maxed out though. They go before certain people. That's crazy. Cheapney. Cheapney is the quicker. He's a lot quicker now. He rolls 2d6 now.
No. I'm definitely not gonna use the divine blessing. Make them go last. We're gonna use the.
Mistake.
No, I actually can't.
Mistake.
You think I need you to calm down.
Murder! Ghost has a decent initiative. Average fucking rolls. Redeemery. He's got 3d10, but no explodey. And all right, Redeemer, good for you, good for you, fella. Mindless. They will take the question mark power. So Ashenfur, Mindless has their own initiative. You will be the only one who knows this, since you are contracted with them. They get a little special power.
Mm-hmm.
They can either go as their normal initiative, or they can go on your turn, depending on what's needed.
Remember, you also have to decide on the special power that they develop because I gave them one of my legendary actions.
Yes. They have gotten the power Giga Spell. They have the Giga Spell quality, but it requires that 1 point to use. So they can only use it once, but oh man, they're gonna smack something with it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Nice. So Mindless will be kind of around wherever you are on the turn order ration. But they could go sooner or later, depending on what they rolled. And you will be the only one permitted to see this. I will roll it myself. They have a... I will text it to you. Where are you? All right. So for this particular fight, another cool thing is Mindless can listen to the friend network through Ashenfur, but they can't speak through it. And Ashenfur has to purposely direct that communication to Mindless, who is a contractee. So they get subjective access to the communication network, but they can only hear if Ashenfur wishes to direct it. You can also, if you focus, which is not too hard for you, I won't have you roll because you have very powerful willpower. You can send communications directly to Mindless like they're on the friend network. They just can't respond.
Neat.
Cool. Scrolling down, let's see who else needs a turn initiative. All right, we got Rampart. Rampart's a little slow. Bummer. Oh, not 103. Just a good old 10. And then, of course, the Grand Knight Harrowhawk also wishes to go first, but he has a... No, he actually has a higher agility than Apollo does, the Paladin. Right. It's like you were wanting to do a thingamajigger? Wandering technique?
I was going to do a wandering technique on the enemies, but also I was wondering if I could go last.
Yeah, if you want to go last, you can.
Yeah.
You don't even need a wandering technique for that. You can just say last.
Yeah,
Would you like to?
Yeah.
Okay, then I will remove the 10, and I will just put last, and I will zip zombie all the way down.
0 would be probably the easiest one for you, Matt.
No. Very specifically last.
Okay.
At the bottom of the initiative.
So I'm going to move these guys up. I'm going to take all of these statues, and I'm going to transform them into Gem Layer. And then I will take the Gem Layer. Oh, hold on. Please don't do that. Stupid game.
Instantly remember the ads I put on your armor for you. Remember the gold?
Yes, but you just didn't tell me what it did.
So we got your. If you want, we did your weapon for tip of it to have the gold, and also we took the gold from the statues and we put them in certain armor pieces because I was able to
Yeah.
move with my my gold familiar. So you could use your wandering techniques if you get hit with gold.
Yeah.
And Rampart's spear and tower shield, the spear tip was coated in the gold by me.
Don't mind me. You guys strategize while I painstakingly replace all the stupid statues with.
I'm gonna be right back and use the bathroom while you do
Yeah.
that.
Cool fact. You guys get to fight everyone all at once on challenge mode. It would have been a series of waves on test. So a few of them would unlock every turn and do their thing. But no. Indrid, why? You can't go AFK. That's
As
not
the other
allowed.
100 people go before them.
Yeah. And then I want to try and use the Sands of Time to reverse the turn order.
All right. You're just gonna just chew up those
Oh.
sands of time. All right.
So last goes first, and first goes last.
Okay. Yeah. That makes a lot more sense.
Because Ziki's at the bottom, so therefore they're 0, but they're also 1, so they're always first.
Nope.
So Allie's taking a shower now, so you're a Telper person, because she was expecting the turn order to take a little bit, but
Absolutely would have taken a bit. That's just really funny to me. I have made a solution, Jim. All right. Well, shit.
yes.
I'm sorry. I was being cheeky. I didn't know.
It's your default for just life at this point. The cheekening.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, you laugh, but it is it's a thing. All right, let's go to the other side and do the same thing. Woo! Grand melees. Oh boy. Nah, I mean, but I know you guys have been looking forward to that fight. Okay, put those there. Turn all of them into tokens first.
Allie will be holding their turn as they are taking a shower.
Fair. All right. Ellie. Alright, now we can grab
And
all
I
of
am
the
back.
fellow. Oh, yep. You didn't miss anything. Your GM is like, have to do thing. Move that back. Wait a second. Ah, that again. This. Fucking knew it. Every dang time. It can never be fucking easy. Guys go there. You guys all go. Boop. Adhere to the grid. Or else. Alright. Thank goodness. Finally. Alright. Who am I missing? I think I got everyone. Now I just need to put everyone on turn order. Lovely. These guys will go individually. Can I please add to turn order? Stupid game. There we go. The guards will go with the commanders and the elites. So they will be a whole hell in a handbasket when they move. And they will take the initiative turn of the fastest dude. But each of the color boys over here, the berserkers, will get their own initiative. Ah, I knew I forgot somebody. Far left, far right. Do-do-do-do-do. There we go. And then this fellow here, add. And I will then put in unique. And then helpless. There we go. So the army of the meek will have an initiative of 1. And the army of the helpless will have an initiative of actually 0. They will basically go last. All right. For the tactical group on the right, fastest guy does fast stuff. 53 for the fastest elite among them, which will be 53. Roll again for the right, the left tactician, 47. Oh, figure out who's who. Who's this guy? Okay.
Eatsley,
Yeah.
is there no action economy for using your lantern?
As far as I know, no.
Okay.
It does take a
figured.
part of your action economy, but you get to choose which part of it you do. It does
Fair.
allow you to use them as a reaction, free action, bonus, half, full, complex.
Okay, I
Fair
just
enough.
figured it was.
That's for throwing it and are using basic powers. If you're going to try and do something complicated with it, obviously it's going to take significantly more of your action economy.
Fair enough.
Basically, kind of narrative proportional to what you're trying to attempt.
How proportionate is changing the turn economy?
Almost. It'd be a complex action, but at the same time, he's kind of doing a surprise round with it because it's a time element. So, Eatsley, if you want to give up one of your keystones, you can always give yourself a split second if you'd like, which if there is, I declare initiatives, you get a surprise round.
Mhm.
In addition to if you already have a surprise round.
Okay.
And if that's one of the keystones you wanted to use.
I will use that as a keystone.
Okay. Give yourself split second, which gives you a surprise round that goes before other surprise rounds and then before a full turn order. Gives you a full action.
Okay.
Or a full turn. Yeah. So pretty spooky. All right, let's take a peeky deek at our quick boys. Or no, our berserker boys. 2, 3, 4. So that'll be 15. That'll be 11. That'll also be 11. Nope, put it in there. 16 for that guy. And then we got 2 more. So 1, 2, 17, 12. 12. Who else needs a turn order? Oh, spooky fast guy. Oh Jesus! All right, that's nuts. 69. Very nice. I think everyone's in the turn order. except for a big boy. You guys ready for big boy?
Yep.
Big boy. All right. So, where is he? Did I put him on the turn order yet? Boo. That turn. He will actually go last.
Oh, right there with me.
Yep. And you will have, let me put this descending order, which puts him all the way at the bottom. Actually, no, because you're going to flip the turn order. It's actually, we're going to do ascending. So that's pretty funny. We'll put first down here. Harrowhawk goes last, as it turns out. Dabbler's way down there. This is a little strange. 69 should go next. And, oh wow, okay. That's annoying. Why are people out of order? Oh boy. Knife snake, you go there. Or just don't listen to me, I guess. 69. Blast goes all the way to the fucking top. Injured actually goes third, which is really funny. Correct. No, those need to go there. I hate ascending. When you put letters into the turn order, it really screws it over.
That's why I was
Alright.
saying about the number for like 0 for Eatsley at that point, and like it does make it really unfortunate.
Yeah, well, just makes it more complicated. So
That's easy for you. More complicated.
yeah, it's like, why do you gotta be complicated?
And it's not my fault.
Yes, it is. It literally is.
So is this Goliath going first now?
No, he's second.
Oh, he's second.
Right behind me.
Fun. I feel like this is a This is a moment.
It
And
puts
of course, the ball. Technically, it would go first above everyone else because it moves first. So it goes last. All right, everyone. Thank you for your patience. That was a lot of stuff to put out there. But I'm thinking we're about ready. Okay, Philip is on there. Yep. Easily in your split second moment, you hold out your lantern and time flows funny.
yeah. First thing.
You catch everyone off guard. You basically slow down time to the point of almost standstill while accelerating the turn order. So everyone gets their turn, but they can't do anything with their turn. So thus we go last, and then when we arrive to last, turn order now goes in reverse. So that's strange.
Yes, and unfortunately, just like Zeke, I had to fuck over Apollo somehow.
Oh yeah. My number is 1 and 0, and yours is 10. Well.
So I'm going to.
Well, let's hold on. Let me get my music started.
Fair
Because we
enough.
need some music. All right. All right. No? Okay, looks like I have to refresh. Fuck.
No.
Oh boy. Come on.
No.
Come on. Yeah, this map is it was very ambitious of me to make. But I wanted to give you guys a big old
A big old fight.
something. Yeah, big old boss fight. Alright, let's see if I can find that. Does it work now? Yes. Alright, Ainsley, what you got for me?
Well, first thing we're gonna do is make sure our home ground is activated.
Size?
It is a 5x5.
Right on your position?
Yep,
Does it follow you or is it stagnant?
it is following me because it's my tabard.
Understood.
Um,
Let me make that visible to all.
okay.
Okay. All in the tabard's range gets home guard.
Yep. And then I am going to move up in front of Harrowhawk.
Hmm?
Like boop. There. Yeah. And in front of Harrowhawk. And yeah. I think that's going to be my turn though. Because I'm gonna be ready to defend.
Okay. Goliath will step up and it will do a mighty attack
Mhm.
as it pulls up its massive fists in the air, really telegraphed. Everyone needs to make an agility test. Not dodge, agility. Otherwise, you just get hit with it. You
Okay.
get out of the way or you don't. The attack range for him will be his size, which is 8 squares. So I will put out a box. No, not from him, in front of him. So it starts there. Yeah. Actually, I think it should be one down. Yeah. Yep. All those people are going to get hit in that square. Which is bad news. Bad news bears. Yep.
Yep.
Susie, please make me that
That what?
that agility test to get out of the way of this massive telegraphed attack.
All right, I'm I'm blowing in my hands and I'm rolling, and I've passed.
Using what?
I rolled a 45 before when you
Yep.
asked.
Oh yeah, you did. Please move yourself to any whichever one is closest to you getting out of the way. So that would be there.
Oh, okay.
You would, yep, because it's closer.
So it wouldn't just be up to your agility bonus. I have to literally just choose whichever one's closest.
No, you're right. Go ahead and move your agility bonus in squares, but you have to be fully out of the
Mhm.
threat zone.
Yep.
Okay. Let's get. Lawful is going to get out of the way.
Do you want a fate point, Mr. Skellerman?
No, use the boon there.
All right. So,
Okay.
by the way, Two-Faced Reveler, since you picked challenged, they have granted a boon to everyone.
Oh, okay.
Everyone, if you use the boon, it takes a bonus action or free action. It will restore all of your fate threshold when you use it on the spot. You'll get all of
Nice.
your boons, fate points, bone coins, whatever it is, as long as it's got a threshold. It'll restore all of it. If you don't want to use it, you can destroy it in hand. You take a turn after you've gone. So if you use it on your turn, you get a turn immediately after. So it has two uses. You can take
Gotcha,
two
gotcha.
turns in a row, or it refreshes all of your spent currency. Yes, you can give it to other people. So they
Okay.
can take a series of turns in a row or restore a ludicrous amount of fate points. Whatever. Keep track of all fate coins expenditures that are burnt. Not spent, but permanent loss.
Mhm.
If you please, because it will matter for the reward pool if you pull this off.
Cool.
Understood.
Okay. I will write it in chat. Actually, no, I'll put it in the Discord channel for Monster Mayhem. So I will do @monster two-faced reveler boon.
I'm also gonna put this in chat as well, so we will know what home guard is.
Could you undo that so I can put the rules
Yeah.
for two-faced reveler in first, and then you can post that after, please?
Yeah,
Also,
sure.
preface it with what it is.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, though. Grants a token that can be used on as a free action, bonus action. I will even give it or reaction because two-faced reveler, stuff like that. Grants either one additional turn after this one, or refreshes all fate currency pools can be given to others. One per raider. Yeah, so one per raider means everyone starts with one. There are 25 of these in circulation. So it's not just the players who get them.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you for the home ground. Paladin of Apollo. They will use their adamantine faith to get out of the way and move there instead. Two-faced reveler does not get out of the way. They will flip a coin. One is they pass. Two is they fail. They do pass. They use their get out of the way. Lil, they're gonna squeak out of the way. Einless will get out of the way. Nicely done. Harrowhawk, he gets out of the way. He will go down here. And Renamery, oh.
Does your Redeemer not have fate?
He does. He's gonna fake point that. All right. The Goliath slams the ground, destroying all tiles in the area of strike. Ooh, that makes it very awkward.
I thought you had that underneath that. Okay. Good to know. Good to know.
This does not suck you in.
Yeah.
But I will basically have it so that it is basically a giant pit.
Mm-hmm.
So it absolutely can basically make it so that you have nowhere to go.
All right. So, Eatsley, I want you to maneuver it into the pit. Sounds good, right?
I don't know if I can beat his weapon skill.
We put enough boons on it, baby.
All right, I burned 5 boons on this.
I actually misjudged. It is actually going to be those. There, perfect. Yep. That's its turn.
Cool.
It only does that. Army of the Helpless, which is on the right side, immediately goes to engage. As they pass the pillars, there is an electrical fence that procs between each of the pillars, and it does not go away.
Does it go this way though? Into the glass.
It does go into the glass, but it doesn't penetrate the glass. Okay. Honkred's in a little bit of trouble. Let me actually go grab that from the other map. I knew I forgot something. The map is so complicated and so big, I knew I forgot a texture, just in case you guys chose one of the other options. If it loads, it doesn't explode. Come on. Thanks, game. Fuck. That almost collapsed under the weight. There we go. Drawing face up. Back to doing drawing. Splendid. Oh, very splendid. Behold. All right, knife snake. 4 attacks. He's fine. Hongred. Those are all hits. Oh boy. All right, bud. Let's see what you got. Who will take more terminus? 1. He will also take some damage. I will have health bars for everyone, so you guys can keep track of what you're looking at. So when they're hurt, I'll put their health bar up. Hongred has taken 1 damage. That was the Army of the Helpless. Army of the Meek's turn, because somebody wanted them to go first.
Yep.
Yeah. Spiker gets engaged. These guys run behind the pool. Nope. Oh, nope. One too far. Bloop. 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 And this guy will step in the middle. And then we got more electrified fencing, because everyone loves their electrified fence, right?
Yep.
Good. That was the answer I wanted to hear. You get an attaboy from the gym.
Haha. I knew I would win.
Sure. Alrighty. Looks like Battlemaster and Spiker are under attack. Spiker first. Both of those are hits. Spiker's fine. Battlemaster. There's a lot of people. Let's do this in groupings.
Nice.
One of the robots shuts down. Only 2 hits. Battlemaster. He will, in return, destroy 2 of them. And since that one's helpless, he will destroy it as well. Is Indrid back?
Allie!
Still holding. Are they still holding?
You
They can still
ready?
hold if they-
Or do you want to hold? Allie's holding.
All right. Just let me know when they're back. They're holding their turn. Susie!
Okay.
Everything's topsy-turvy. You weren't expecting to be so nimble on your feet.
Yeah. So, first things first, I'm going to look at this this statue of Terminus Goliath, and I'm going to see if there's any catalyzing has been done to this thing.
I'll have you roll a catalyzer, if you could.
Yeah, I know it was like an awareness or, but I can roll catalyzer. So 40 and then 70, which is 110.
Tell me what you roll. I went downstairs to grab myself a
Of course.
beverage.
I rolled
Kick-
14 degrees of success.
All right. This specific entity cannot be harmed, statused, conditioned. They are immune to everything until whatever protective barrier they have goes away.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha,
you
gotcha.
need to somehow remove its protective field,
Mhm.
which I will now represent it that you've discovered it has a protective field. I will put a symbol on it, and I will give it a yellow tint. It is protected. And the field is gold imbued. So if it hits you, it'll proc all Terminus, then give you Terminus
Gotcha.
in its current state. If you get rid of the barrier, its gold effect will go away.
Another thing of note that was talked about in chat earlier. Million was wondering if any time has passed. For example, does going into another room proc like a day's worth of time, in a sense? Or is it just like
only an hour.
it's only an hour? Okay.
Every room dilates an hour
Okay.
for every person who goes through it. Now, if you go back through the door, it doesn't proc another hour.
Gotcha.
So if you decide to walk forward and back through a threshold, it only procs once you've passed through the threshold the first time. So if you go back and then you return through the threshold again, you only lost seconds because, well, it took you time to do it anyways.
Yeah.
But every new room you go to dilates an hour.
I was curious because the gold has a day's worth of legendary actions that refresh every day. So, okay.
If they go touch the Ethereum or you give them Ethereum, you can refresh those.
Yeah.
The pools are
So-
still accessible.
Of course.
In challenge mode, you can drag one guy to the pool, and he will be resurrected. All Terminus will fall off, and they will be back to full health and full condition. But you got to get them back to that pool on the other side of the map.
Gotcha.
The pool has to be half filled for it to be revived. So you got 2 revives out of it, or a bunch of uses, 1 revive, or just a bunch of anti-Terminus.
Yeah.
Yep.
Second question. They saw through our invisibility thing we did last time.
Certain ones do. Certain ones do.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha. So Susie is going to. Susie's going to put on a mantle, is what she's going to do. Let's go down to these friend network powers. Da-da-da-da. Hey, so what's the one with movement? Rabbit. Plus 10, plus movement,
Yeah.
1 per half action. I'm going to put on the rabbit mantle.
And don't forget, you start in my turn, so that's 10 times, or you double your movement for this turn.
Yeah. So double my movement. I have 4 agility bonus. And if I do a run, I have 6. and +1, and then double is, so 4 times 6 is 24. No, 24. Yeah, and then double that is 48. Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna do a run from here to here. Yeah. And then you can do the interruption with this if you wish.
All right. I have put in the chat under the Monster Mayhem chat what each of the water pool and the Ethereum pool and what you can use them for and how many stacks they got.
Gotcha.
I will actually put a trackable bar on them so you guys can see. Does it not project it? Must need to be a token. There we go. I'll make them tokens because unfortunately the stupid things won't. All right. There we go. Reveal to players. Turn into token. All right. Pools have been marked. Do know that the tablets with the information on them and the stone that houses the tablets are indestructible and immovable.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So, Matt, what I'm doing is I'm doing, because I can't do it with a full action, because I'd only get 8, 12, 16. I'm doing a run from here to here. And you can do the interaction with this guy if you wish.
He will try and he will get his hands on you.
Okay, so do I have a dodge? But you also included the minus that's attached to running, right?
I did not. Which minus was it?
So if we look at actions,
because he's got you with 2 degrees of success. Because he's a specialist in close range combat.
Movement. Melee attacks get a +20 bonus, but weapons. Okay, yeah. So yeah, he would get me with that then, and I don't have any.
You will be arrested right here.
Okay.
On the charge plate.
Gotcha.
Yep. He will deal to you since you unfortunately got grabbed. He will deal to you 17 damage, no pen, and he will deal to you 1 terminus.
Okay. 25. So no damage.
Okay. Awesome. No damage.
I'll add the blue for 1.
Yes, please do.
So that was a full action. Am I in grapple?
You are in grapple.
Okay, I have another.
He currently has control of the grapple.
I currently have another half action. And I think acrobatics. They don't have parry in here. I think I can do a. It must be. I think it's a half action or a full action acrobatics test to get out of a grapple. It's one of the two.
Athletics.
That's what it is in Roll20. That's what it is in the core rule book.
Okay, that's fine.
Just let me
Acrobatics,
double
athletics.
check. Yeah, you can wiggle out with acrobatics, and then you have to do like a strength to, I think, get the better one of the two. So if I go to game mechanics and I go to,
if you want to gain control of the grapple, you're going to need to oppose strength. If you're just trying to get out, you can just roll athletics or acrobatics.
So yeah, the grappler can test wriggle out of the grapple, making a challenging acrobatics test. If they succeed, the character slips free and may perform any half action. So this is on. Okay, so I can do this as a half action. I do have this. All right. So
Yeah.
I'm going to roll. Do I even have it? Is the question at the top. I do have it. Nice. So and then submit. I'm going to roll fate points.
Don't forget you get plus 10 to that.
I get a plus 10. Okay, good to know. So Sashar,
Getting started in my area.
1d87. 23 is a pass. And I can perform another half action and move here.
Nice. All right, there you go, Allie. You'll end up there. Cool.
Yep, just for another half action, because I don't have the additional. I don't get the home ground bonus because I was in it, kind of deal. Or does it still count because it started on my turn?
If you started your turn in the home ground, you carry your entire turn. So
I'm gonna be back here, where Matt put me, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nice. Booyah!
Okay,
And-
you run up the stairs. Those are stairs. You have a pretty tall vantage point, so 3 meters up, 10 feet.
Yeah.
So you're 1 story up, and you can kind of see quite a bit. So the Jack, he moved and disintegrated an enemy with one of his eyes. Monster Merchant. He's gonna reach into his bag, hands you an object. It's some sort of necklace that you can wear with a big old kind of crescent chest piece, and he just hands it to you, and then spends his other half action writing down in his accounting book.
What does he write down?
You don't know. It's his book, and he's not showing anyone.
This is what you guys owe me at the end for me having to use this item. That's exactly what this is.
No, it is, because that's our deal.
Yeah.
Cheapney is going to charge flying, being really small. He's going to charge one of the commanders. Hiya! He's going to use Blade Master. Yes. Ting! And he will actually hit the commander for some damage. Hiya!
Go Cheapney.
Lawfare is going to use one of his powers after he's actually going to assess the situation. He is going to launch his spiritual owl at Eatsley, and when it arrives, he will then teleport to the owl. He will go out to touch you. Do you allow him?
Yeah.
Right. You'll put a hand on your shoulder, and while anyone within home ground, if somebody were to try and enter the home ground territory, they must make a strength test. If they fail, they collide with a wall and take impact damage and cannot enter.
Oh, nice.
All right. Battle chicken goes over, pecks that one dude. For how much damage? Let's see. Is it 2 damage? Philippe. Oh, I know what Philippe's up to. There's a lot of folks for him to mess up. Uh-oh. There is an electrified field between those pillars.
I was wondering if you could destroy the pillars. That'd be nice. Good luck.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a field here?
Yes, there is.
They're just
Between each of the
walking
pillars.
through it.
they're walking through the electrified fence, like this sheet of electricity and lightning, and it energizes them as they come through.
Remind me how tall this is.
That is up to your chest. That is about 8 feet tall, so 2 meters.
Okay. Well, the engine's been on since before this fight, so I'm not even gonna bother.
There's no need for you to turn it off.
Yeah.
You don't need to worry about the tablet and the housing. It is indestructible.
I'm not
So-
worried about destroying it. I was worried about it blocking me.
Oh yeah, if it's a line, but if you spit
will,
a glob, it can go up and over.
I will spend a half action to activate Rage, which will
Okay.
come into effect next turn.
Yes.
I will use my other half action for my breath weapon.
Okay. Right there.
We'll do a cone. Aim it
Oh.
this way.
Okay. And that's the cutoff right there.
It's 20 meters instead of a line turned into a cone.
So it hit all of these guys.
Well, it's 20 meters total that can comprise the cone, right?
Yep.
So, if I take the line this way, I shouldn't say 20 meters total, but you know what I mean. It's like I don't know what the exact math is here.
So you're just gonna hit all those people in this area.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is
Let's
that
make
10?
a batch roll of. Let's see if we can get the hell out of there. What is that?
I'm just seeing how far 10 goes.
Well, when you
Yeah.
do
Yeah,
so,
I know.
it's try and do kind of a non-Euclidean. All right, there's a different arrow that you can get.
Fuck
So
is
if you
10?
do no snapping, it'll actually tell you. Oh no, that's not even correct. Let me go into the map. Measurements. No, we're gonna do.
I literally just need a 10-foot cone.
Well, hold on. Because you going up should increase the distance. Yeah, there it is. Pathfinder rules. So it'll hit all these guys. Yep. So there you go.
Honestly, at some point I'm just gonna need to use the
4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
the circle
9,
tool or
10,
whatever.
12, 13, 14, 15, 3. All right, 23 people.
Bleh!
Okay. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Fuck, that's a lot of people, Phil. Dead.
What?
With the double damage.
Oh, with the plus 50 damage. It's not
Yeah.
double.
Oh, sorry. Plus 50. Apologies. These things are not meant to take that type of damage. 2, 3.
And that will be my turn. And I will put Little Skull on Oh, that's neat. It's called Death Zone. That little picture on the
Cool.
on the token. The skull.
Is that it for you?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Rampart will activate their legendary ability. If any one of you were to take a killing blow, he takes it instead. He takes basically all of the damage and all the effects. He will then use another legendary action to fortify his defenses. So for 10 minutes, all of his armor and soak and resistances are doubled. I will put a thing on him. So good old 60 turns. But that'll be his action or his turn. All right, which Yahoo is this guy? This guy is going to try and charge the barrier. He will break through it with his strength. And he will charge. I'm going to roll a 1d5. It's a U or 4.
All right, come on. Narrow.
Leolel is going to get the smackenings. Let's see if Leolel gets out of the way. They do. Leolel will use a maneuver. Its resistance, not enough. Leolel will basically spin and trip it as it falls into the hole. Bloop. Bye. Ichi's gone. Which one is this? It's one of these ones. This one. Charges Redeemery. Oh. All right, Redeemery. You got this. Okay. He will not get thrown into the abyss. He will successfully parry, but he will take a terminus.
Pretty low. Could be worse.
All right, and since it is a golden boy, I will roll to see if they proc terminus. 1 is a no, 2 is a yes. Redeemer is consumed. He has no more terminus, but he permanently has his health reduced by 11. Ash.
Oh, the fun! So, I need a bobble. That bobble you had for the last map. With the 10-foot radius. Or the 10-meter radius.
Which bubble?
The aura thing for a 10-meter radius. You said you were saving the little, like, globe thing that had an aura around it?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I have to go all the way back to that map. Which is not a problem. Just I have to go grab it.
Sorry.
No, it's perfectly fine. Just takes a little to load that map. All right, where's that thing? Aha! I found it. All right, where's it going? So I can put it on the map.
Over here.
10 meters. And it was a. What is the distance
Thankfully,
on it?
I can adjust the aura, so no worries.
Please do. Ooh. All right.
So right there is going to be
Is it a spell?
3 of them. All at the same time.
It is removed.
No, it is not.
Why not?
Because it's countering forces that he cannot dispel.
All right. Which are the countering forces?
Fire, ice, and force to compound.
He will still absorb it, but it'll destroy him in the process.
That is not what happened last time.
It isn't what
It-
happened last time. This is challenge mode. These guys these guys are way more powerful.
The
They
only
do more
reason
terminus, they do more
the only
attacks, they move more.
the only reason I'm asking is because you said that based on what we had figured out, that happened after they passed through the electrified field, and they hadn't done that yet.
Alright, you're also trying to put the orb on the other side of the electrified field. It's a sheet wall. You guys haven't breached
Does-
it. It's safely on the other
Doesn't
side.
matter. Light aspect.
This
I
this
can make
wall,
it
it's solid or
spawn.
it's all electricity?
It's solid electricity. It's a perfect sheet. And yes, you are right. You get your light and you can cast it. The knights are significantly stronger, the crystal ones. They will even martyr themselves to remove a spell that they know is going to kill them, which is not something they had before.
Then is it removing all 3 spells or just one of them?
It will absorb all 3 and basically fall on the sword. But the army of the meek no longer has a crystal knight, which means there's nothing there to absorb other future spells, except for the sheet lightning.
Then, with my 4th spell coming from this direction, is a Forked Disintegrate.
Oh, I fucking knew it. Alright, let's roll for disintegrate.
And
Roll
it
that
is
damage,
going
please.
to be penetrating and empowered.
Oh boy. Please roll the damage as I roll a... I think everyone on this side of the... Yeah, okay, so 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 30. Just 30 d100. Ooh. That's not some good rolls. What's the DC for avoidance?
There isn't one.
Oh, never mind then.
And because I did the maximized, it is going to be a flat 100 force damage.
Oh boy. Yikers. Alright. That's
And because penetrating, it will ignore partial and immunity.
let me give me a moment. I'm gonna need to put 30 X's on dudes.
How much did that cost?
27 spell points.
Which is more
Uh,
spell points than some people have as a total. Archmages have around 50.
And you have like
Sages
600?
Yeah,
I have 730 maximum.
he spent a lot of merit.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
nope.
I did.
These guys are fine. Hold on. Nope, these guys on the other side of the electrified fence. What am I doing? I'm an idiot. Okay, no, these guys are fine. That guy isn't. Alright, so let me go back to correctly removing people. For everyone to notice, the whole map shifts. Literally, like it's a seesaw.
Oh. That's not balanced.
I told you it was a scale.
The whole room is a scale. The more you succeed, the more it tips. So both sides have to be pretty equal on enemies and pretty equal on allies. So
I mean,
if
we
there are more
probably should have
enemies,
just kept these guys alive then.
oh, but you can't afford to. They're gonna fuck you guys up. That's a lot of dudes, Eddie. Fortunately, the scale has only shifted about 5 degrees, but that is enough for anything that rolls to start rolling. It looks like even the constructs are affected by the scale. And you kind of see them lean into the incline. So you guys are currently at a 5%. tilted downwards towards where you guys came in. So if you're fighting the behemoth, you guys have gone up 5 degrees.
Wait. We're like both sides. Like we're getting an increase and they're getting a decrease, kind of deal.
Yes, it is not balanced. You guys are on a scale, a seesaw.
Yeah.
The map is tilting.
Gotcha. I think I understand what you're saying.
Yep.
So the better we do, the worse things get for their side.
No, the better it gets for their side. So whoever starts to succeed more starts to tilt the map wildly downward.
Right. So if they so it can make it a lot harder for us. Okay, gotcha.
And it's not the weight of the individuals personally. So the Titan,
That's your
Goliath,
actions. Yeah.
It's who's alive and who isn't.
Okay. Gotcha.
So because I took out a quarter of the enemies, I made it more difficult for topside.
Yes. It also tilts the map literally.
Okay. Because they're going to need it, and I can do this with my bonus action, I am going to give my second legendary action.
Sure.
To my contractee to use her Giga spell a second time this round.
This combat, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So there was one thing I really needed to. Ashenford, you were given an object from the monster merchant, Drekas. It was a necklace that you can wear.
Oh, then movement action, I'll put that on.
Okay.
Because why not?
You will have to take a full action to identify, but it is a magical item and it does have neat features. Otherwise, he wouldn't have given it to you.
Cool.
He did write down that he did give it to you, so yeah.
He probably expects it back. Yep.
Or
he's
you to pay
taking
for
it out
it.
of the
Or he's just writing it off. You're not sure. Which one is this? Is this?
We'll find out later.
Yeah. All right. That guy holds his turn. Two-faced reveler. Will actually go up to the tip here and position themselves in defense. Murder Goose is gonna murder as best as he possibly can, because DPS is not entirely aware that the cause of the tilting. Murder time. Yes. All right. Let's get some defense from all adjacent people, which is 4.
Ooh, 2 9s.
No, they all get out of the way of Murder Goose. That is wild. Clockwork Inquisitor will back up and then pull out a arcane revolver and pew! He's gonna fan the hammer at that group of 4. Let's see how this goes. Oh no, those are 1d100s. Oh, looks like only one gets out of the way as he shoots a bunch of them. This guy on the other side, which is this guy is going to charge, but stop there as he continues to charge on his next turn. Battlemaster.
Hey, can I?
Oh,
Can I
you want to
take a
go?
turn? Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Go
Are
for
these
it.
guys disrupting the electricity?
Nope, they're passing through it and they are empowered as they walk through it. They're crackling with energy.
So things can pass through it. They just get electrified.
Yes.
Okay. And these guys are crackling with energy. That's not much good, though.
The constructs seem to be extremely. They get an extremely good benefit from going through. They seem to be more agile, faster in their attacks, faster on the dodge.
What about these guys though? They don't wanna get through?
The bigger guys, they're just slow. They're gonna get to
They're
that
slow.
electrified field eventually.
If you want, I could send my my companion down to protect you if you go sleep time. And I wonder if the stream would affect this in the same way. Probably because we're in challenge mode, but maybe it would be a less effect or a different effect.
In this particular case, if you fall asleep, insomnium comes out to play. Yes, your body does need to have somebody to protect it, but I'll put insomnium on the map as well. They will
Okay, so there's no
manifest
dream. Gotcha.
Well, it's overlaid at the same time. They see
Overlaid
what
at the
they
same time.
normally would see on the dream. They're dream walking.
Um,
They're daydreaming. So
rather.
insomnium can play on this field, but their body of Indrid will be
Exposed. Gotcha.
It'll be helpless.
Yeah, which is why I was thinking about sending Shining Dawn down to protect. But yeah, okay.
You could also, if you want to, fly up on Rampart and get on that shoulder
Just sleep.
parapet
Yeah.
and fall asleep on the shoulder. Or on the top of his head.
What I really want to do, because it seems like fun, and that seems like what Indrid would do. Is I kind of want to fly along the outside of this barrier and throw, make water potions at it, like little water balloons.
Oh, you're gonna throw.
And just sort of ground the electricity.
All right. Which side was it? Left or right? Oh, right side. Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna go
Okay.
over. I'm gonna start here, I guess.
All right.
If I can get past these guys.
You're flying though, right?
I am flying.
Do you have any water balloons prepared?
Well, I have a whole bag of. I have 20 make water potions.
Oh, you're just gonna throw a bunch of make water potions at it? Like, okay.
Yeah, it says they're 10 gallons each.
10 gallons?
That's what it says.
You were preparing these for when we went on desert trips, didn't you?
I was, and we didn't. And now I've got a whole bunch of water things, and I just want to chuck them at this electric field just for fun.
How many do you throw? Because you can throw up one per hand.
Well, I'll start with 2 in this area.
Okay, do you want to throw it at the electricity itself or at the pillars that are...
Yeah, I'll smash it on the pillars. That sounds like a good idea.
Alright, I will roll for each pillar. Okay.
Ooh, nice.
The upper side one completely short circuits.
Oh.
You can consider that...
Open territory.
This pillar literally just short circuits, and
I appreciate that.
massive amounts of sparks and heat, and you actually smell something burning that shouldn't.
Excellent. I have made trouble.
Yes,
Trouble for the
you
GM.
have. Yep. So since that tower can't maintain the field, the 2 connecting fields fall, but the other pillars seem to be holding. The other pillar you've hit with the water, I didn't hit it just right.
Okay,
It
that's
looks like
fair.
you gotta. So the perpendicular intersection where the lightning touches the pillar, if you throw the water and you have it hit that perfect corner, it'll burn the pillar out. You just unfortunately missed it. That perfect hit zone on the other pillar.
I think one is pretty good. One is pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. That thing went down quickly. Is that... Do you have any other actions?
No.
Okay, I will go to Battlemaster. Thank you, Allie. All right.
Thanks.
This guy will engage with these 3. Ooh, back, please. Oh yeah. All right. So the other 2, the single guy gets the chance to dodge. He does not. You'll take out those 3. Due to the pillar going down and more foes falling, the gradient tips to 8 degrees. If it gets past 20 degrees, everyone is going to need to make agility or strength test, or its constituents, acrobatics and athletics, not to slide towards the end.
What about if I'm holding on to something?
What about if I'm flying?
You'll start to drift. Actually, if you fly, you will start to drift towards the end.
I see.
Yep. If you're holding on to something, you'll still need to make a strength test to hold on. Otherwise, you just slide off and you tumble. I will roll. If you fail spectacularly, you start to undergo a uncontrolled fall, and it'll roll scatter. The number of squares you tumble will be d10s of damage.
Gotcha.
I will roll a d10. And then we'll also roll which way you go, because you could go a little left, a little right.
I'm hoping to fall into the glass. That would be my ideal.
Yep, the glass will catch you, but it may crack or fracture or just break.
That's fair.
Yeah. All right. Battlemaster will then slide over here, and that guy gets one test. Nope, he kills the other two. I think there's one guy left of the Golden Boys. He will also make a similar charge. Ghost is up. Ghost will take a stance and do a rapid fire shot. Only 2. There's still hits. All right. That guy holds his position. The Titan Beauregard is gonna step over here, and he's gonna smack. And he misses one, but the other one actually gets out of the way. Well darn. Spiker is going to use the rogue feat. Whichever. Oh gosh. There's a rogue skill that lets you disengage as a bonus action.
Disengage.
Yeah. Well, it's disengage is it uses more, but a rogue uses a rogue skill to disengage as a bonus action, and then he will spike. Those are both hits. Those things get out of the way. Wow. Yep, these guys are electrified. They are way stronger. Or way quicker. Alright. Leolel. Back on the upper group. Leolel will summon their minion and have it brace. Leolel will start to they'll pull out some sort of fetish, and it'll start to float up in their open palm, and dark energy starts to roil out of it. And Leolel will look over. I need a few moments to make this work. Cover me. Paladin is going to be fighting that guy. His defense. Next attack. Next defense. Yep. He is pretty locked in that situation, but he will use Flow Like Water, Smash Like the Tides, and he will move over here and hit him with a bonus action, which will actually hurt him. Nope, not dead. Neve Snake. Murder. Go, Neve Snake. Murder them all. He's gonna hit 3. One of them could probably get out of the way. They don't. Murder. And what's better is you have cleared the way for Neve Snake. He will coil up and spring himself at the enemy. Arr. Oh, He does not get the. He does not stick the landing. Okay, trouble. All right. Which side was that? Was that side? All right. This individual charges. He slams against the wall. Oh, he fails his strength. That's pretty funny. Takes 22 damage from hitting it with such speed. This guy will wander up to try and grapple with Susie.
Okay.
Fails.
Okay.
This thing. He misses. This thing tries to charge, smashes through the wall into the construct. Drives the construct into, or the ghoul into Lothware, who fails the strength test. Eatsley.
Yeah.
This guy is trying to push the construct into you guys, so you fall into the pit. He is succeeding currently. Lothware basically smacked up against the back of the ghoul.
All right.
Lilo can't move. Lothware is stuck. You need to make a strength test or a agility test to get out of the way. Or do something cheeky, like that is your namesake.
I know, right? I'm going to use a free action.
Nope. No, not a free action. It's not your turn. Free actions can only be used on your turn. Reactions are the only thing you can use not on your turn.
Do you have a reaction since we used a reaction? Do you have 2 reactions, right? Because you're home ground.
I have a lot of reactions.
Yeah.
I want to. I'm gonna double check.
This could be a moment if you wanted to try and make a wandering technique. I will make it very difficult, but you could.
I want to try and make a wandering technique.
All right. That's what wanderers do. They just make shit up on the fly. Or do weird stuff.
Yes.
Or both.
Because I've been drinking.
You have been drinking a lot.
I want, when they push me, I want to grab them and spin so the knight keeps charging through.
Well, he's pushing the ghoul, which is pushing into Lothware, which is pushing into you.
Yeah.
So, who are you grabbing?
We're gonna grab
is the only.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Lothware. So. Okay.
And Einless, they're both targets. You can't grab the ghoul because it's not in range.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab these 2.
Yeah.
And kind of just roll my back. So it essentially is a dodge, but I'm moving 2 people with me.
Okay. Since you're trying to grab 2 and you're trying to make a dodge as well, I'm going to have you do a maneuver.
Okay.
Just like in Friday's game, but it's going to double the negative because of the 2 people you're trying to move.
All right. And it's gonna be a weapon skill.
Yes. So it's a minus 40, and you have to roll it twice, and you'll apply the same negative to your dodge.
Okay. I get a plus 30 and a plus 30 for non-damaging weapon skill.
Sure. And then whatever bonus from your drink deep is.
Yeah.
Plus 10 from your home ground.
Yeah. So
zeros.
Home ground actually doesn't help here.
I figured it was plus 10 to skills. My bad.
You do need to pass all 3 to pull off the technique.
Yeah.
So,
then plus 10 for the wandering skill. And then this is where I'm going to be trying to get Drink Deep to help with weapon skills. So
you can only make 1 technique at a time.
Yeah. So technically, I have nothing right now. So, and then you said it was minus 60?
No, minus 40 twice. So you have to roll weapon skill twice at a minus 40.
Okay.
And then you have to make a dodge at a minus 40.
Yeah. All right.
So 70 or less, is that what this is, or that's your bonus? I gotcha.
That's my bonus.
Gotcha.
So you get the plus 70 even after the minus 40?
Yeah, that was adding all my bonuses up and then the negative.
Right. Could you give me the breakdown, please, of all
I
your
have
bonuses?
4 unnaturals to my weapon skill.
Okay, that immediately cancels out that.
I have a plus 30 to hit with weapon skills, and a plus 30 when I'm hitting not using damage.
Okay.
And then a plus 10 for wandering techniques.
Okay. Thank you for the breakdown.
Yeah.
Well, roll it again. Okay. Now the dodge at the minus 40.
Yes. So
home ground does apply this time, though, right?
yes. So dodge is I get a minus 40, and this is wandering technique. So okay, I'm rolling with a minus 20.
Good luck.
But I also get to roll. No, I don't need to. I get to roll dodge twice to take the better results.
All right. Where are they going?
Lawfare is so essentially Lawfare is going to be moved like here, and Ines is going to be moved here on direct opposite sides.
So one thing of note,
that's still within charge range of this guy.
So Eatsley, one thing of
note.
note.
Are they charging this way?
Yes.
Okay, so I thought they were charging this way. Sorry.
Nope, they came from here.
Eatsley, you can go up to your agility bonus in meters when you do a dodge. By the way, so if you wanted to go over here, or
I'll be moving up here then.
You'll move them up there. Okay.
Yeah.
You have to move with them.
Yeah. And essentially, I'm just.
I have a name for it, but you can give it a name because it is your technique if you'd like. I would call it "Come with me. You're in danger." But you can name it something else if you'd like, or you can use that.
I'm gonna call it rolling with the drink.
Okay. Add that to your created wanderer skills. You can move up to individuals equal to the number of hands you have.
Unsober driver is a good one too.
Driving under the influence.
Yeah. I was just thinking like a taxi or somebody. Someone like a sober drive would bring somebody, right? Some ways, like, but you're not the sober one, so.
Okay. Yep. So you can grab people up to the number of arms you have. You could potentially argue, if you improve it later, for feet as well. But each applies the maneuver negative, and then also whatever the maneuver total negative is also applies to the dodge.
Fair.
Okay. Targets can resist. If they are allied, they can just let you do it. Okay, that is just that guy, but we have so many more. So many more. Charge. Oh, hold on. Let's see if he actually passes through the... He does. Right into Loftware.
Does that one actually keep going forward, though, out of curiosity?
Yes, he does. I will let the golem make one more roll. And the opposed... he will get caught on the shoulder of this big guy. Which will immediately proc Terminus, consume Terminus. So, Golem's not in a good place. Loftware, you gotta get out of the way. He will. This guy will start to wander up this way. This guy will wander over here. These guys will charge in. He passes through with strength.
What's he charging at this point, though?
They're just gonna stack up.
Okay. I just figured a charge you required someone to, but it's their centaurs, whatever.
They will kind of wander this way. Commander's turn.
My turn?
The left side commander's turn.
Okay.
This individual will immediately order all units on the left side to act again. They get another turn. The big guy goes after Two-Faced. Two-Faced will try and protect themselves, but they will not do well. They will roll a 1d2. 1 is a success, 2 is a fail. Alright, they will just bypass the attack. That is a lot of dudes, Eddie. Lawfare is in. Okay, that's a miss, but that's a hit. Lawfare, you're fine. Golem resists. Susie.
Yep.
Grapple. He
I'm
does hit you.
activating my legendary action of many hands.
Yep.
I'm going to then do a full turn to put him inside my inner world.
All right. He is gone. He is in your inner world. Kind of standing there like,
what? My
this guy
second
will move
action.
up.
My second before that happens. My that would be my third action I'm doing. I'm flicking a radiant dungeon coin at the thing.
Oh, okay. Ballistic skill as if you please, because this guy's about to wander up and it's
That's okay. So I have a -10 and submit. And then I'm going to use a fate point to roll again. That is a crit success.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you hit him with the dungeon coin and he is vapor. Detonated.
Okay, I'll hold off my other actions I can use. So yeah, that is my turn. For my extra
left side,
actions.
This guy goes to charge. He fucking hits the.
By 1, I bet.
He will take 32 damage, reduced by
Good.
armor and toughness. But he is stopped by the red Hungar barrier. This one will wander forward, or so to the side. So will this one. These guys will all charge.
Boo, boo, paladins.
Oh, that guy does not. He will take a little bit of damage here. Yep. That guy does not either. Yikes. 31. And then he will charge Einless. Einless, you need to get out of the. Yes! Alright!
Nice.
Einless needed literally a 1 to pass that because of the inescapable. Einless will not only dodge, but tap him on the chest and hit him with a disintegrate. New technique. It is basically a counterattack, but gets to apply a spell.
Counter spell? No.
Yep, and then she does make the
counter spell.
The counter. Yep. Commander will huddle up behind and next to the Crystal Knight and behind the elite. Then we go to the other side. No, he doesn't actually go. They go on the commander's turn. Which means the right side commander, he's being attacked by Cheapney and can't use his command. Everyone on the right side takes an extra turn. Cheapney, because Cheapney is disrupting him. He will attack Cheapney. Fail. Cheapney will exploit weakness. He's going to fate point.
Oh.
Double. He is lucky. He does have to roll better.
Okay. That's way better.
Yeah, he will. Actually, he might actually do. Come on, Cheapney. Hit him with the juice. That's too bad. spears this guy pretty hard. I will roll to see 1d2. 1 is Terminus. This guy gives off a lot of Terminus. 10 Terminus to Cheapney. So Cheapney also has 13 HP. Not a lot. Unfortunately for Cheapney, this guy will come over and open up a can of whoop ass on Cheapney. Good luck, Cheapney. Cheapney will use his heroic ability, mighty but small. He is going to basically see if he can, because he's so small, he's going to see if, since he's occupying the space of another character, kind of like a gnome can do, he will attempt to make the guy hit the other target instead. Good luck, Cheapney. Yeah! And Cheapney will dodge as the guy kills his own commander.
Nice.
Unfortunately, Cheapney no longer has protection. These guys will move over, giving room for these guys to charge Cheapney.
Here's one of my handhelds that I have. I'm going to make Cheapney part of the friend network.
Okay. Uh-oh. Okay. Cheapney only has 2 reactions. He's still gonna get hit. He's still gonna get hit, and then yeah. Okay, so he's gonna have to. Oh, he doesn't have a target. He can use the ability on.
I'm going to use my second action to summon him over to me. So I only have 1 hand left.
Okay.
Waypoint.
I'm gonna have you roll opposed on me for this because these guys are really fast. So I'm gonna roll. You're gonna roll your influence, your magic roll.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And I'm gonna roll to see if these guys still get some attacks off on Cheapney. All right. First guy.
Nice.
We'll still get 2 hits off of Cheapney.
Okay. Oh,
that
we
guy,
roll with
he
the
misses
fate point.
all of them. He misses all of them.
Two attacks, eh?
If he is part of the friend network, he can also don my house mantle now.
I think he needs to do it on his turn, though. I don't think he can do it pre-active. Shit. We'll get a fate point from the Sand Knight to because he has 4, right? I think that's what's included into.
Yes.
So we'll use one. Yeah, I'll use a fate point on my 69 to see if I can get a better roll.
Okay. Roll 1d68.
25. So that's about 3 more, I think.
You will yank Cheapney to you.
Okay.
He will avoid the attacks.
Woof.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to move him. Yeah. The paladins are a little confused. Nicely done. Nicely done.
That was clutch. I really needed to. I was like, oh man.
Einless is going to use Giga Force Forked Disintegrate by tapping into the bond between the contractee and the contractor. With your permission, Ashenfur, they're trying to borrow a spell they do not own or know. Do you grant this favor to your great father?
Are they asking for a specific one?
They're asking to be gifted the Fork Disintegrate spell permanently. It's a copy. It doesn't take it from you. It's just you would permanently give them the knowledge of. They could basically cast it forever. It's theirs now. They know the spell. You still have it though.
Yeah, I will grant, because I know I can do this, temporary use of it.
If you give them this one, they are smart enough to learn it on the spot if you give them use of it. But they're trying to kill all of the centaurs in one go. Or most of the centaurs. And then also that super, the elite.
I'm going through my notes. Papa Gall did say that anything I learned from here I could teach if
Yes, you
I
may.
was willing.
Yes, you may.
Then yes.
Yeah, because even if it was temporarily granted, they are an archmage. If they cast it, they know it. But yeah, that's a major boon that you'd be offering.
And I know one of the other things that I can do is it will increase the spell level, the base spell level of it by 1, but I can input a permanent modifier on it for them.
Yes, if you'd like.
I'll apply the penetrating modifier to it.
Okay, that spell will just be more difficult to cast. But they have the mana now, and
Yep.
they're going to go die. And they're going to disintegrate pretty well. Which is the quality that makes it's light. It's the light element that makes it not dodgeable, right?
Yes, the light element makes it to where they can't dodge it.
Okay. We are actually going to need to cut it here. It is 6:20.
Yeah,
All right.
It was the hard cutoff. Thank you guys for playing. And yeah.
And
sorry we have to cut it, but the build up to the fight was extremely important.
The light element makes it to where I can cast it from any place as long as light is sharing and spells have unlimited range.
Sure.
And because I gained solar fire, it improved it to where all spells connected by light that I am in become inescapable and add bonus damage equal to double casting stat.
Okay. I do need to go. I went
Bye-bye.
over by 5 minutes. Thanks, guys.
Well,
Million, did you even get your turn? Oh wait, you did a blast. You did a blast. Yeah, no, I remember what you did.
Everyone got a turn except for the NPCs.
Yeah.
Well, I will take off, folks. It was fun. I blew up a quarter of the map again. I'm proud of myself. Talk to y'all later.
Peace.
Peace. All right, this should be easy. We got this. Challenge mode accepted.
Also, part of the reason why I flipped the entire turn order around.
We almost got fucked though by that big guy. I mean, we could have used fate points and stuff, but it's like, let's just delete the map.
I was tempted to use a wandering technique to see if I could, instead of parry, or instead of dodging it, parry it.
Yeah. What would you do though? I think you'd still go down. Like you would still hit the map, I think.
No, because the wandering technique I would use is the one that stuns them.
Okay, yeah. But they're immune to damage and status effects.
That's her. I'm also gonna try and get rid of that barrier on my next turn.
Oh, I thought we need to get rid of the barrier by the. So I think it's the same pinball effect, like because Matt put the sun on on the turn order.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's gonna go in a direction, and then we gotta ping it at the the big guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pinball, so it's like the only way it would just go through the the glass would reflect off the glass, and then the sides.
I'm gonna try and cut it though.
Okay, I believe in you.
I know. I'm gonna use my letter opener on it.
Don't break the letter opener.
Sorry, that session was...
It's okay, Ellie. You were not really attached to what happened.
It's like 4 hours of my life I'll never get back.
It's true.
I moisturized my hair when I took a shower.
Oh, you get it?
I did do some things.
Nice.
I beat the electricity.
Yeah, you fucked that thing. I wasn't expecting you to just throw water at it. Let's do science on this bitch.
It's like, I could dream walk, but man, I haven't trouble made in a while.
What are you seeing? You trouble made the last session.
Trouble me in a while.
It's fair. It's been a week.
I haven't trouble made in 5 minutes. It's been too long.
It's been too long. But I need you guys. I need you to do the other side now, and someone to go fuck up that knight or what are the gold and white ones called?
Queens.
The queens.
Fuck up more of the electricity, but I don't like the gold and white ones. They look scary.
You can nail it.
Someone else should fuck that up.
Well, we need someone to go over there and hit the beams. Yeah, it's either the sun thing's gonna bounce, and that's possible, or we need to all reflect it on the thing, like direct it, and then. I'm also gonna try and reflect I'm gonna look into the mirror, I think, next time too, and see if I can get another me going, so I can help out.
I think the me. I think
now. I'm out of hair that I can pull off my face.
Yes, we can do something more fun.
I think the reflection is not helpful.
Okay, I know. It seemed like a good idea at the time.
I know.
Oh, I'm so glad I saved Chitney's ass there. I was like, I just completed the title quest, so I had an open slot, right? So I was just thinking, like, oh man, what can I do? And then it's like, my legendary action is OP. It's just like use an action whenever.
Yeah. That big guy's gonna be the hard part, I think.
Oh, I have a cheese. So once he's down, I'm gonna do my scouter on it again, and I'm gonna see if I can one shot reset it to base parts.
Oh, how are you gonna do that?
With catalyzer. So one of the techniques I'm planning to build for myself is item catalyzer.
Yeah.
So because it is an object, the construct, I will break it down to its base parts, to its original like level 1 stats compared to all the things that were added to it. So that's my plan, because I was trying to think of a new technique, because that was one of the rewards for the catalyzer.
Yeah.
And then just use it on a construct, and then be like, bye bye.
That's fair. I think what I'm gonna do is, I'm just gonna use the letter opener to sever the construct's connection to its horse barrier.
Okay, yeah.
And so it won't have that anymore. And I'm either thinking the force barrier is going to go down, or it's going to stay in place for wrapping it inside.
Challenge mode.
Yeah.
You got this.
I'm gonna cut the concept of it.
Nice. I'm worried about this tilt thing, though.
I'm very worried about the tilt thing as well. Because like the arm of the meek, right? It's like boom, all dead, right?
Yeah.
And I was just like, it's gonna hurt. I know it is.
Now you should use your space and time moth and go fuck it up.
Leave this space.
Sure.
Okay. I'm gone.
And then use it on an enemy. That's it.
Something's for the glass. Just end it all.
Oh, you're gonna break the glass? It's sucked up into the void.
That was it. That's all she wrote for us.
It was a good run. What are we gonna do now? Let's go do something. It's 9:30.